And then there was the time I was listening to Lords of Acid. I got it.
Go ahead, throw it out there.
I wasn't listening to it too loud because, you know, my parents were home. I didn't listen to music too loud. But I got it reasonably loud in my room that I couldn't hear my dad calling me.
Right.
So...
And you're going to... What song was on at the time?
I don't remember the song, but I remember the line. The words that were coming out of the speaker at the time. So, like, my dad comes in. He opens the door and says, "Hey, Lev." And at that moment, he stopped and heard the music. And what was coming out of that radio was the lines, "I want to sit on your face. I want to sit on your face. I want to sit on your face." To like a heavy techno beat, you know?
Right.
And he's like in mid-sentence, and he just stops and he looks at me, looks back at the radio, shakes his head, and just leaves. To this day, I don't know what he wanted.
You never asked him?
No.
Just kind of, you let that one, just brush that one.
I just left that one to the annals of history.
So anyway, so we're doing this podcast. And like I said, neither one of us knows what we're doing. So it's either going to be pretty funny or it's going to be a total shit show, or probably a little bit of both, I'm kind of thinking. So I guess, I don't know, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Levy, 40 years old.
Affectionately referred to as the Filipinas around here.
Yes, the Filipinas. You'll see me on Xbox Live as Filipino Heat also. But so what do you want to just talk about? You know, our interests, like what we, you know.
Yeah. What do you like? What
we collect?
What do you collect? What do you watch? You know, TVs, movies.
All right. So, well, mostly, my first collecting passion is Transformers. Specifically G1 characters, if not the original G1 toys. I collect Masterpiece, Chug. I also have a modest G1 collection, and I have a number of Transformers Prime, so I like that show a lot. It's a great show. And then a couple months ago, I actually wanted to branch out into something new in the collector market, and so I decided to start collecting 6-inch like superhero action figures. And so I started, you know, getting into like the import figures, SH Figuarts, Mafex, Figma, but then I started picking up Marvel Legends also. So Marvel Legends mostly I pick up for like Spider-Man and X-Men figures, and then my the import figures I pick up for like the movie representations of characters. So and I'm pretty big into video games. Tabletop gaming too. I'm looking to start playing some Dungeons and Dragons again soon. So, yeah, and obviously, you know, love movies, right?
Like, not specific, but like genre.
Well, action. See, the thing is, like, I find value in all different genres. Like, I've actually gotten into watching the Pride and Prejudice miniseries.
Okay.
Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice. It's a 5-hour miniseries.
I'm out of the loop.
And I actually enjoy watching this. I didn't at first because it's my fiance.
Right.
It's hers. She loves watching this. She'll turn it on every opportunity she gets when she's playing World of Warcraft, and she'll just put it on for noise.
Yeah.
And so I just like started watching, and I
you got sucked in.
Well, yeah, exactly. I started watching bits and pieces of it, you know, and so like. At one point, I had eventually seen all of it, just not in order, right? But then I realized I was...
You saw it Pulp Fiction style.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I realized I was really actually kind of into it when I sat down when she wasn't home and turned it on and started watching the fucking thing. So, but it's actually a really, really great story. So, yeah, like I find... entertainment value in all different genres: comedy, romance, action, drama. Last night I watched probably one of the greatest action films I've ever seen. It ranks up there with Mad Max Fury Road for me.
All right, I'm listening.
It's I believe it's a Malaysian film or an Indonesian film called The Raid Redemption. And oh my God, this movie was fantastic. I've heard so many good things about this movie. I watch YouTube channels like Watch Mojo and stuff, and they're always talking about that movie in various videos where they're talking about action and martial arts and things like that. Because in Watch Mojo they do a lot of top 10 list videos, and so I finally last night decided to rent this movie, and it did not disappoint. It's a martial arts film, action film. It's about a SWAT team that goes into this apartment building that's controlled by this drug lord, and they're ambushed, and they have to make their way out. And just the action, the fight choreography, everything is just absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of cringe-worthy moments, but I mean cringe-worthy in a good way, where you see somebody suffer a grievous injury, and you're just like, oh, like that. There's a lot of that in there.
Yeah.
So it's
how
great
old,
film.
How old is it? Is this something new?
It's actually recent. It's actually fairly recent. I don't think it's no more than 5 years old at the most. I think it might be. I'm not exactly sure what year it came out. Maybe 2012, 2011. Yeah. I think. And then there's a sequel too. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Oh, comic books. I don't really read comics, but I like keeping up on comic news and the state of affairs in comics.
Right.
So
that's a discussion for a whole other time, man. But the comic industry is definitely different than it was when. I'm
just totally into geek and pop culture.
Right.
As a whole. So.
You know what? It's funny that you brought that up. I just before I came home, I went to pick the beer up and get some pizza. I went to Lehigh Pizza, and there was a dude standing next. I got an Army of Darkness shirt on. Mm-hmm. There's a dude standing next to me, got a Superman shirt on. This other dude came walking in, wearing a Boba Fett shirt, and the dude behind the counter that brought me my slice of pizza yelled out Ash when he was holding my pizza up, which nice. Totally, you know what I mean? Which was awesome, but it's kind of, and all of us were older, you know, and it's become a lot more acceptable, the whole nerd thing, as we got older. Cause you remember when we were younger, especially teenagers and stuff like that, it was kind of we could be nerds, but we had to act like we weren't. But people knew anyway.
You didn't want to let on you were into that sort of shit, especially in high school, because you
wanted to see boobs at some point, and you knew that it would be impossible.
Well, not only that, but everybody around you, it was like you're in the middle of the ocean, you're surrounded by sharks.
Right.
They're always on the lookout. They're always sniffing for blood, and when they see that weakness, that
this is a scarred man talking right here.
Oh yeah, dude, you wouldn't believe.
I've never heard anybody describe it exactly how you're describing it. But
you wouldn't believe the punishment I endured in high school. Not necessarily physical. I was never really physically bullied.
Right.
But dude, I was made fun of all the time.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because I really didn't hide a lot of my interests. Back in high school, and I know you were the same way with, I drew all the time.
Right.
I haven't done it so much lately. But I drew comic books, and I remember in my Spanish class, I had these big drawings of the Ninja Turtles that I drew, and my teacher loved them so much he would put them on the wall and stuff. And people love my drawings and stuff, but then they see me walking around with a Star Trek novel in my hand. Mm-hmm. So I'd say that hampered my ability to get a date for some time.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because back at the old place.
Well, before you continue the story,
yeah, go ahead.
We need to introduce who you are.
All right. So my name is Mike, and I've pretty much been into Transformers since the beginning, '84. And I kind of got into actually, I started reading comic books maybe right around the same time. I had an uncle that turned me on to comic books for the first time, and I was hooked, And back then, if you remember, they were everywhere.
Was that Tony?
No, it was actually my Uncle Len.
Oh, okay.
And to this day, and I don't see him as often as I used to, but when I was younger, like every time we would go over there, I'd always go home with, you know, a small pile.
Yeah.
And he continued to do that over the years and stuff. But like by the first pile or two, I was hooked. You know what I mean? It was the X-Men, Spider-Man. You remember Darkhawk?
Oh yeah.
I was kind of a Darkhawk fan.
Jim Valentino.
You know what? Honestly,
Yeah,
man, it was
Darkhawk. Yeah,
such
it was Jim
a
Valentino.
long time ago. I can't remember who worked on it, but it was, and it kind of tied into the Transformer thing because he kind of had the helmet and kind of had like a robotic
Yeah, he
kind
made
of
an
look to
appearance
him.
in the Transformers comic books, right?
No, Spider-Man did.
I know Spider-Man did. I thought I remember Black and Darkhawk appearing.
And it wasn't even, that title wasn't even around for a long time, but I don't even know. It's not around anymore.
No, I don't think so. No.
But I remember the first run, I think it went like 50 issues and stuff. But anyways, it was mostly like Marvel stuff. There was a little bit of DC stuff mixed in there, but it was all about the X-Men, you know, like Wolverine and like the artists were like that whole, like the first crew that went to form Image.
Oh, the early
Like
you're talking early 90s era X-Men.
Yeah.
Jim Lee,
Lee.
Mark Silvestri.
Yeah, not McFarlane was working on that, but like that was the era with McFarlane and like a bunch of those other. Like Jim Lee was awesome.
Rob Liefeld.
Well, yeah, you know.
The hose bag that will not be named.
So yeah, man, it was basically, I was into like Transformers. I was into like dinosaurs as a kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, so it was kind of like the combination of the two of them, and like Voltron was a robot, so he kind of like.
I mean, what young American male wasn't into dinosaurs when they were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, you know, I was into like drawing and stuff, but I didn't really collect anything other than Transformers. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie, there was a few GoBots mixed in there. You know how it goes, man. You know, but I didn't, you know, like G.I. Joe and like Thundercats and all that other shit was out at the time, which was cool when I used to watch all that stuff as a kid, but I didn't like collect any of it. I was always kind of, you know, to this day, still kind of like.
Got the blinders on.
Yeah. I mean, not blinders, but just like, I just kind of like know what I'm into. And I know like it's between being a hoarder, for me anyways, being a hoarder and just like picking something that you like and just sticking to it.
Yeah.
And the way I looked at it was, you know, Transformers came out when we were 8, and like the real, like the great era of G1 was like from 84 to like 87 or so. I know the toys kept coming out, but I think the
cartoon lasts until 87, 88.
Yeah. That Rebirth, it was that like short, like 3-parter that they considered season 4 that was introducing the Headmasters. Now I got turned on to Victory and Master Force and Headmasters long after that was out. Like I just kind of thought when it died, and I didn't really keep up with it.
We didn't know there was a whole other world across the ocean.
That's what I mean. I thought everybody was just kind of getting the same thing, and
we'd heard stories
right
about, you know, Japanese stuff, but we didn't really know what was real, what wasn't.
And I had the internet back then, but I found myself just kind of like using it for all the wrong reasons. I could have been gathering information, but you know. But anyway, we went to a BotCon, and I think it was at a BotCon we met Tony. Remember Tony and what was the girl's name?
Barb?
That's it. Tony and Barb. We met them. Tony and Barb were the ones that turned me on to. You might have been with. I can't remember if it was like those 3 series and stuff like that. So you got that.
I remember they gave us the videotapes.
The tapes, yeah. So that was cool.
We met them before BotCon, didn't
Was
we?
it before? Yeah, where the hell was it, man? I didn't think it was a BotCon.
I don't remember how, because I know I met them through you.
Right.
But I know that they were going to BotCon, and we ended up, you know.
It had to be some convention or something. Like, where the hell else does people like that meet?
Or maybe,
you know
maybe,
what I mean?
maybe,
It had to be a
you
convention.
know what? No, I think we did meet them at BotCon. We found out that we lived close by.
Is that what it was?
I think that might be it.
The one in Rochester.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was the
BotCon
first
97
one,
in Rochester.
Yeah, that was a good time. But, so, anyways, but like the BotCon was like where we finally, like you realize that there was like a lot of fans left out there, and it was kind of, it was cool, you know, but.
Yeah.
But anyway, as far getting back to, I'll go off on a tangent, but as far as like getting back to like what I'm collecting and stuff, you know, I was a kid from in the G1 era.
Yeah.
So that's like what I have like the biggest attachment to. I had Beast Wars shit and Armada shit and all that other stuff, and this is kind of a funny story. I I had the room up there. I had an island in the middle. I had like bins of shit that I didn't even have out. And the one night we're chilling out and like 40-Year-Old Virgin comes on. I can't remember if it just came on or we rented it. And I'm watching this movie and I'm like, how old was I? I was like 29, 30 at the time. And I'm like, that's me right there. Except like that I've seen a naked woman in my life, you know? That was the only difference. But it just kind of like got me thinking, like, I have too much shit. And a lot of that stuff, I have like, what kind of attachment do I have to this shit, you know? Like Beast Wars came out in 94. I was, what is that, 18 years old? You know, I didn't really particularly give a shit about a lot of that stuff. It was all about like what got me into it in the beginning, and that was always the G1 stuff. So I kind of like cut down.
Well, do you remember at BotCon in '97 when they were asking had us fill out the comment cards for suggestions and such?
No Beast Wars.
Yeah, and like you, me, and Chad, we all wrote down no more Beast Wars.
We were all pissed. We were already old. Wait, how old were we? We were like 18. We were old heads 19 or 20.
Well, it was 97.
Oh, no, wait. So we're talking about the.
So we were 21 that year.
Yeah, we were 20. But still, at age 21, like we were old heads at age 21 already.
Yeah. No more Beast Wars.
We were probably telling like back in the day stories. You know, I love when at 21.
Though looking back, Beast Wars is pretty cool. At least the cartoon.
The cartoon
the toys were, some of the toys were pretty cool too.
The cartoon just like technologically speaking, as far as animation goes, is like way, it didn't really stand the test of time.
No, it did not. I tried watching that shit on
But
Netflix.
like the stories themselves, like there was a little bit more, it was a little bit more geared for, there was stuff in it for adults, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because honestly, you go back and you watch a G1 cartoon now, and for nostalgia purposes, it's awesome.
It's a 20-minute toy commercial.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that and just like the stories are ridiculous.
Yeah, though there were some episodes that were actually pretty good gems.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying every one of them was a turd, but
no, there were a number of episodes that actually told pretty decent stories.
Yeah.
But no, what you were saying about Beast Wars, it definitely, they were definitely paying respect to the previous generation, and they were definitely.
How so? Explain that. What do you mean?
Well, just tying it in to the original G1, giving something for the old fans to look forward to, you know, giving us that oh wow moment.
You mean like when they found the arc?
Yeah, when they found the arc and everything, and then they showed Optimus Prime, like the Optimus Prime on screen, you know, and so you know they were paying respect to the old generation and to the older fans, in that I think, and that really I think did it bridged the gap, and I think it really brought in, you know, those viewers.
I'm cynical, man, because I think you just went from saying about like how G1 was like a toy commercial, and now I'm thinking, you know, and it was definitely that was a cat, by the way, if anybody heard that.
Jesus Christ. That was somebody coming at your computer.
The cat's happy and well taken care of. She just makes weird noises every once in a while. So I think, like, you know, you said you and Chad were filling out the suggestions, no more Beast Wars. I think they were trying to pull everybody back in. And I mean, it's probably a little bit of both. You know, they were probably trying to like, but I don't know, man. I just, I still kind of, I don't really have too much of an attachment to what's up? Come on up. I knew you were going to do this. Come on up.
No.
I have more of an attachment to like I still read the comics. This kind of ties back into like what I'm doing here. Like I read all the Marvel comics and stuff, and even got like I got the digital versions of the UK one. But like the IDW, the Dreamwave ones were really cool. Yeah. And I went back and read them more recently, just because like IDW kind of took them down like a different road, you know what I mean? Like they definitely strayed from the path, which was cool. And Dreamwave was a little bit more like what's the word I'm looking for? Like they were trying to keep it true to.
Well, I think they were trying to continue the original series.
Right.
You know, it really felt like they were just continuing where the original series left off. Kind of like between the second season and the movie. Right.
You know? So they were I have more of an attachment to those, I guess. Not exactly sure why, but So anyway, and that and like room, you know what I mean? Like you only got so much damn room.
Yeah.
And like
well, every collector out there knows what that's like.
Yeah, and the thing, and you know what, our boy Jay brought it up best. He's like, there's like a fine line between a collection and like you're a fucking hoarder.
Yeah.
You know, like, because a collection, you can still have everything kind of displayed cool and everything. It looks like it's being displayed more than I'm just piling shit onto a shelf and finding like, you know, you get something new and you're kind of like, you have to start at one end and you're moving everybody down like a 1/4 inch so you could pick up like 5 inches.
We've all done that. We've all done that.
So, yeah, I don't know. So I pretty much, I just got a huge G1 collection.
Yeah.
I pretty much got
and it is impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the photographs, but to see it in person, it is mind-blowing.
Well,
to see this man's collection.
And I got to straighten a few things out about it because like I always have people busting my balls because it's all in the boxes.
Yeah.
And it's not all in the boxes.
No, it's
like,
not in sealed boxes.
Like, let's be real. Like, I was a weird kid, but I wasn't a weird kid. Like, I would get a toy and leave the shit in the box.
Could you imagine? Hey, you guys want to see my Transformers? Transformers, yeah, Transformers are cool. Hey, look at this. Why are they still in the boxes, man? Let's open them up. No, don't do that. They lose their value if you open the boxes.
It's funny that you bring that up. My boy Chubbs, Chubbs and Gurman, they'll come over every once in a while and they'll like imagine like you're a kid and you got like a tank in one hand and a plane and you're like, acting like you're fighting. They'll actually take 2 boxes and pick the boxes up. Like if it's a jet in a box, like the box will be flying and shit. They bust my balls. But no, I would say that like 95% of the stuff is open. Mm-hmm. Like the only stuff that is sealed is if I bought it as an adult and it was sealed. Like obviously I'm not going to open a thing,
Yeah.
But all like the early stuff.
But let me tell you.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time.
Oh, see, everybody's got it. Yeah.
To Christmas 1984. If I could go back to Christmas 1984 and pull my young self aside and say, dude,
leave it
in. No. I know it's going to be. I know it's going to be the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. Just keep it in the box.
I don't want to get all mushy and philosophical.
3 words.
What's
3 words.
Yeah.
AFA graded. That's 2 words.
It depends on if you count the letters.
$5,000.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. And I know it's kind of like I'm not trying to get mushy about it, but I mean, it was not going to bring you any kind of joy in the box as a kid. Like you got, like as a kid, like you have to take the shit out, man.
Absolutely.
There'd be no way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I'd have the attachment to
Okay, well, let me throw something else out there. If it was just one. Now, if you're talking the whole damn thing, all 200 some figures or whatever it is, and you could go back and have the whole damn thing then you're talking like, I don't even know how much money you're talking. But
a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Like a whole mint and sealed box complete collection.
Do you think that article's real? The one online about the dude that sold it for $1 million? I doubt it.
No.
There's no way.
No. I don't think it's
There's
worth
no
$1 million.
way.
I don't think it's worth $1 million.
It's not. Oh, it's not even a fraction.
Yeah.
Not even a fraction.
And it's worth a lot of money.
The only thing I could think of is that maybe there was some rich dude out there that just wanted to get the whole damn thing put together and didn't feel like going through the whole chase, Because if you think about it, I mean, like, man, conventions and like eBay, and whatever, trying to like track all that shit down like one at a time is crazy.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's on the internet. You got to take it with a grain of salt.
Right. No, it's complete. It has to be BS.
Yeah. There was one thing I did see though a while back. Some guy claimed that he was over at his girlfriend's house and was in their basement, and he found a mint and sealed box Megatron and Optimus Prime.
Right.
And I'm looking at the box on the Optimus Prime, and it was the error box.
Yeah, no shit. What kind of shape was it in?
Mint, pristine condition, untouched.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I took that with a grain of salt too, but I commented to the guy and said, dude, if those are legit, get those graded. Get those.
Especially for a dude like that don't give a shit, because then he could just sell them and make a ton of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually...
a ton of money to somebody like us. Like.
Yeah. But the error box, the very first Prime that came out that has the printing error with the radar dish peeking up from the bottom underneath the foot on the box art in the front.
Yeah.
And there's other visual markers on it too and stuff, but there's one, I don't know if it's still on eBay, but it's for sale on eBay, or it was anyway, and for $8,000, and it's AFA graded. Now the thing
it's
is
up there for 8,000 or it sold for 8,000.
no, it's up. It's for sale at 8,000. Well, hold on. Now the tape on this thing is cut, but otherwise it's unused. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like sticker sheet and all that shit.
Yeah,
still...
it's completely unused. It was never removed from the styrofoam supposedly.
Okay.
It's just like I said. Apparently the tape got cut or whatever. So I had actually posted this on THC and just getting people's opinions on it and stuff like that. And people were like, $8,000. I wouldn't pay $8,000 for that. And other people was like, dude, that's a mint in box, error box prime AFA graded. Yeah, that sounds kind of right. And other people were like, I know this seller. He makes his living doing this stuff. He knows his shit. And finally, the seller comes on and explains, like, there's only 2 of these in the world. 2 error boxes that are graded. Mm-hmm. And one of them is actually mint sealed box and said that it had sold behind closed doors for more than double what he's asking for this one.
No shit.
So
that's a lot, dude. That's a lot of money to spend on a toy, man.
It is.
Seriously,
but
man.
That's, in the realm of wealthy eccentric collectors. Now, granted, a mint and sealed box, error box Optimus Prime, that's my holy grail of collecting.
Yeah. But like, why?
Because it is so rare, and it is like, he's my favorite character. G1 Optimus Prime is my all-time favorite Transformer character.
Okay.
And to have the pinnacle of figure representations of that character untouched by anyone ever, that's a holy grail for me.
Right.
Now I'll never own it. I've made my peace with that.
So the Powerball rolls around. Exactly.
If I were to ever somehow come across, that kind of disposable cash, then yeah, I'll pick it up in a heartbeat.
His eyes are as big as saucers right now as he's saying this shit.
But it's like I said, to me that's the pinnacle. That is the ultimate representation of that character because it is so rare. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's what a holy grail is.
Right.
It's just that one piece that no matter what you do, it will be almost impossible to get.
Yeah.
So
it's more about when I refer to it, I'm more of a completist. Mm-hmm. I'm like a little on the OCD side. So I kind of look at the whole thing as like a set. So I got all the G1, like the American ones, and then like Tony Tusky, if you ever hear this, I spent a lot of money because of you, dude. But he turned me on to that the Japanese stuff. So then I like checked that out, and now I didn't go crazy and get all of them because there's just a lot of doubles. I mean,
wasn't Ricochet the first Japanese Transformer you ever picked up? The black Jazz.
Stepper. Ricochet was
the gun, isn't it?
That was that was the Target Master.
Stepper and Ricochet, right? Yeah, that was the first Japanese one you've ever picked up, wasn't it?
You know what? If you're remembering that correctly, you got a better memory than me because I can't really remember which one.
I'm pretty sure
I started getting myself at a really good time because I was talking to Jay about some of the stuff, and apparently when I was getting the stuff, it was still like Transformers was kind of still like, it was before all the movies came out, and we'll get to that in a little bit, about the Michael Bay Transformers. And like what it did to what we think it did to the whole franchise, but like there was that time where it was kind of like laying low for a while. Mm-hmm. So I got all this stuff. Like I'm not gonna say for cheap, but like cheap for me, me, dude. Yeah. I ain't got a whole shit ton of money and stuff, so it was definitely like affordable. Where you could look at it and be like, all right, I can I'll get that, you know. Yeah. But so
and
there's
you also picked up that one Brainmaster too. I remember.
Well, there was the 3 Autobot cars. It was the Rose Caesar.
I think it was
the car combiner.
I think it was a car.
It was probably, it either had to be the car combiner or it had to be
I don't remember
Star
which
Saber.
particular figure it was. I just remember. I remember it was. I'm pretty sure it was a car. And I thought the gimmick was really cool. You put the little guy in the chest. You close the door and the face
head pops
came
up.
Like,
yeah, that was kind of badass. Yeah, I got I got
all
the.
It's all the cool shit.
Yeah, they did. Well, you know what? I think it's just cool because like we didn't. Because it was just like it was new, you know what I mean? Like long after you thought you saw everything you were gonna see, because I saw all the comic books, I saw all the cartoons, you know, had all the toys or whatever. Yeah. And then and then you like the whole new thing opened up, and then you realized that there was a whole bunch of other shit out there. Yeah. So it was just kind of like brand new. It was something that we haven't been seeing for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because at that point, I mean, it wasn't like it was the first 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. Of the cartoon, so it was only like a couple years in there, and then like we didn't meet those cats until later on. I mean, it was was it around 2000? Maybe a little bit. No, it was in the 90s, right?
Which one? Who?
Tony.
It was like 97.
So that was long after the shit was already dead. So we've been seeing the same shit for how long? And then like somebody was like, "Hey,
we met them about 10 years, 10 years after G1 ended in the States."
But the only thing I did
the cartoon anyway
was fight the urge to get like. Where there really wasn't an urge, like you don't go and get all the original characters that were already American. I just went and looked for the ones that weren't. They were just like exclusive
figures. Yeah.
So I got like 5 left. I got like a couple Dino cassettes, and I got is it Black Shadow? No, I got Black Shadow and Blue Bacchus is a Pretender, and Grandis, and there's one other one that I'm brain farting on right now. I'm not going to waste any more time thinking about it, but like I have those couple left to get. So to me, like the Holy Grail isn't just like one of them. It's just kind of like getting the other ones. And I'll probably never see those because all the prices are insane, you know? And I can't see, I just can't see spending that much on, on a toy at this point.
Yeah. Now, if it were 15 years ago and we had that kind of cash.
Yeah, but we didn't, did we? I don't know if we did.
We had that kind of cash? Yeah. Fuck no, we didn't have that kind of cash 15 years ago. Are you crazy, man? I'm just saying theoretically, if 15 years ago we didn't have the responsibilities of like a fucking house over our head,
right,
or a car in our driveway, or keeping food on the fucking table, we could spend that kind of cash on it. But
I mean, you weigh your options some weeks. It's like I can eat top ramen for 7 days straight.
Hey, don't knock ramen, man. Don't knock ramen. This week I've been kind of chowing down on those Nissan Cup of noodles, man. Those are good.
Yeah, but they're not that
good. not to exclusively live on. I will grant you that.
Right.
They're good once in a while.
So anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
In a 45-minute nutshell.
45 minutes.
You had to do this at some point. Yeah, you had to do this. I just want to like. Let everybody know once again, this is a test episode. So if it sucks, it sucks. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's it. Cartoons. Oh, I didn't really even get into TV and movies, but man, I'm stuck on horror movies, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I had the Chiller channel for years.
Getting to be the month for it.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I like fall and Halloween and all that shit. But I just discovered the Chiller channel and I'm pretty sure I had it for a long time. Yeah. But just
you know what they used to play on Chiller?
What's that?
Remember the old show back when the Fox Network first started, right? Mm-hmm. Back in like 1988. Do you remember the show Werewolf?
Vaguely.
That was an awesome fucking show. I don't care what nobody says. The Werewolf on Fox. That was a kick-ass fucking show. It was probably one of my favorite live action werewolf programs ever.
What year? What year did this come out?
I believe it came out in 1980. It only lasted for like a season and a half or so.
How were the special effects back?
Actually, the costume effects were actually pretty decent. Now they did a lot of quick cuts and stuff, so you didn't usually get very good looks at the werewolves. But there were times when you actually got to see them. Like there was one episode where he was being the main character. Actually, I remember his name. Eric Cord was being chased by that hunter Alamo Joe. He was like the guy that was always chasing after him and shit.
Right.
And he'd shot him, with a silver bullet, and so he was hurt, and he was found by this little boy in his treehouse and stuff. They showed there was a lot of time spent, as the werewolf, so you got to see a reasonable amount of the special effects and stuff, and it was really well done. The costumes were really good. One of the bright spots of that show was Chuck Connors. Older listeners may or may not know him as the Rifleman from like the 50s, I believe that show's from. But
for the demographic out there, it's like,
for those
70-year-olds.
70, 80-year-old Transformers collectors out there. Or maybe not.
You are an old fart, man.
No, but yeah, he played Janos Skorseny. He was actually the head. He was the first werewolf supposedly, and Eric, the main character, had to kill him to end the curse. So he was chasing Skorseny, and Alamo Joe was chasing Eric Cord. So, but he was a really awesome villain, and he changed. What was cool about him was like the way he changed into a werewolf was different from everyone else. Like everyone else just kind of changed shape and stuff like that. Skorseny would actually rip his face off to change. He would take his face and just like grab his lips and just pull his face up over his head like a hoodie.
Right.
Just pull his face off. And it would be the werewolf head underneath, but it can be kind of compressed, and so it would just like, stretch out and stuff and fill out. But goddamn, that shit was awesome.
It looked good. I mean,
yeah.
for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had an eye patch. You're always cool when you got an eye patch, man.
Well, I mean, Who told you this shit? Some guy with an eye patch.
Yeah. But yeah. So they actually used to show that show on Chiller. I haven't watched Chiller in a while, so I haven't really been keeping up with their programming. But they might show it every now and then. So, and if I recall correctly, they would actually do marathons and stuff of like older horror TV shows and stuff. And or it does not even necessarily horror, but just like weird sci-fi stuff.
They have X-Files on there,
yeah.
Like every week they have like a run of X-Files episodes.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a cool channel, man. I'm basically watching like that, and I'm watching baseball, but not that much baseball anymore because the Phillies kind of suck. Have
you been watching the Ash versus Evil Dead?
I'm a little embarrassed to say that I haven't. I haven't even seen the first season, dude. I got myself on some like new level of busyness, and it's like I'm not even leaving the house all that much.
Yeah,
but I'm like I got my hands into so much like different shit. Well, I barely have time to watch.
The new season's starting up soon. Okay, so what you're gonna need to do is you need to come over to my house because I got Stars
and watch the whole for like binge.
Yeah, and so I have Stars Play, so we can watch every episode.
How many episodes was it? Was it 12, 13?
10.
10?
I believe it was 10, and they're only a half hour.
Right.
Except for the first one. The first one's like 45 minutes. Maybe longer. But yeah, you're going to have to come over one weekend. We'll just sit down and fucking binge watch that shit.
Yeah.
Because that show is one of the greatest things to come to television in years.
Jed was saying it was real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I feel a little embarrassed that I haven't. I'm like trying to keep up, but there's just so much shit going on. But I definitely do got to get into that.
Yeah.
So we got to do.
And maybe after you watch that, maybe we can start watching Game of Thrones.
I got plans for Game of Thrones.
Oh, do you?
And it's not with you, but it's all good. Don't be offended.
No.
You got my Army of Darkness time, but
all right.
Game of Thrones, I already got plans. And that's another one too, man. Like everybody said, I was really gonna be. That like they can't believe I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and I haven't. But you gotta see. The problem is you gotta get me to sit still for like a half an hour. You saying Army of Darkness is or a half an hour at a time. It's cool.
Yeah.
Not that I'm gonna book out after the first episode, but I can get through a half an hour without twitching and having to get up and do something.
Yeah. Let's see, the problem with starting Game of Thrones now is you got 6 seasons to go.
Yeah,
through.
but you gotta. What the hell did I get into? Sons of Anarchy. I didn't really get into Sons of Anarchy until probably the third season. I know it was only 3 seasons, but it was like the third. I'm trying to think if I ever got into anything late. Not really. Like it's usually. Yo, you know what I've been watching? Did you ever watch American Horror Story?
I tried getting into, was it the Freak Show season?
See, you got in at absolutely positively 100% at the wrong time. That was
I heard that season was shit.
That season, by itself, it was they got your hopes up.
Yeah.
In the first couple seasons, like the first season was awesome. The first season is going to be one of those ones where you're going to watch it and then you're probably going to go back and rewatch it again at some point, knowing without giving any spoilers away, knowing what you know at the end of the first season. The second season was killer. I actually got in on the second season.
Is that Coven?
No, Coven was the third.
Third.
The second one was Asylum.
Okay.
Asylum was crazy, man. It was on that point, I didn't have to see the first season to see what was like, to know what was going on. Every season is kind of like its own story.
Right.
They reuse
it's an
actors.
Anthology season or anthology series, yeah.
You know, a lot of the actors come back from season to season, most of them, really. Except Jessica Lange's not in it anymore. And you know what, man? I dug her, man. She kind of, I'm not going to say she was definitely a major piece, so it's kind of weird with her not being in it anymore. Oh, yeah. But, Coven, or the Freak Show, that was the wrong.
Yeah.
Either you want to get in on the first one or the second one. Coven was okay. Freak Show was like the low point to me. And then they picked it up a little bit with the fifth season, Hotel. And we just watched the first episode of season 6 last night, and it was pretty good. Like they did it without giving a spoiler away in case anybody's still trying to watch it. They started off, and it's like you ever watch like a documentary like a Haunting or like Paranormal Witness, where they're interviewing people and then they have actors kind of like acting out the shit that's going on, like it's basically
dramatizations.
It's kind of like that pretty much, you know. So it's kind of a cool little twist, but I'm not going to really give away any of the story, but I'm going to say it's promising, you know. I think it could be good.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just like I used to watch Sons of Anarchy. That's obviously not anymore. Kind of waiting to see if they got
Well, they got that spin-off series coming out.
About the Mayans. Yeah. I'm kind of like waiting on that.
Yeah, April was really into Sons of Anarchy. I never watched it. I watched the first episode, but never picked it up again after that. She said she was interested in maybe watching the show again, watching the series again. So I said, you know, if you sit down and watch it, I'll watch it with you. And
this is at what season is this? What? Or is this right from the beginning?
Right from the beginning. She's talking about rewatching the entire.
Okay.
Me and April, we both like watching things over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't know why. A lot of times she'll put something on that she's familiar with just because she's familiar with it, and for noise when she's playing World of Warcraft. So she has something familiar. She's familiar with it, so she can follow it without actually paying attention to it.
Right.
So she'll watch.
That's interesting.
You know, it's why she you know, puts on the Pride and Prejudice, you know, all the time.
Right.
You know, she's so super familiar with it, she can just listen to it and subconsciously follow it. Mm-hmm. So. But yeah, she said she was interested in possibly watching that again. So I said, if you watch it, you know, I'll watch it with you.
So you've seen one episode of that?
I've seen the first episode.
I'll tell you what, man.
And I did like kind of watch some things with her, but it was all like from the last season, so I kind of know how things turn out.
What the hell did you do that for?
Well,
it's a twisted road though. It's not.
I don't know how they got to that point and stuff, but I know a lot of the shocking moments and the twists and stuff from the last season and everything. So I watched the last episode with her, so I know where everybody goes. Right. But you know what? That doesn't ruin a show for me.
I don't even understand how that doesn't ruin it.
I don't know. It does, because
you're saying
the journey is the worthier part, to quote Shepherd Book for those brown coats out there.
I agree with you to a point, but. So there was just some things I didn't see coming, man. Mm-hmm. Like there was just some things I didn't see coming, and if I would have known, I can't see how that couldn't have at least partially ruined it. It was
actually the same thing for Game of Thrones, because April she watched Game of Thrones religiously from the beginning.
Right. So you were catching here and there.
So yeah, I would catch things here and there. So I knew about things, you know, before I actually sat down and started watching the show. I knew, you know, what characters made it and what characters didn't. Mm-hmm. But it was still entertaining for me. I don't feel... I mean, a lot of the stuff didn't have the impact in context as it would have if I hadn't known what was coming.
Yeah.
But, I mean... And when I did see the things happen, it didn't have as big of an impact on me then either. You know what I'm saying? But it was still... entertaining, and let me tell you, season 6 of Game of Thrones is it was the best season of that show. And I had been caught up by that point. Like I got caught up like in the middle of season 5.
Right.
So like everything in season 6, you know, was new material for me. So, you know, seeing all that stuff, absolutely fantastic. Season 6 was absolutely a winner for me.
See, this is where I have to make decisions on like stuff I'm gonna watch, because there's so much shit I want to watch, man. Yeah. And there's so many series I kind of got left behind on. I used to watch Bates Motel.
Yeah.
And
so I heard that's a good show.
Dude, it was really good, but it was just one of those things, man. Like you get busy and there's so much shit you want to like get caught up on. And I had a whole season on there and just like never watched it. Needed the space one day. Yeah. Because I had a whole bunch of other shit on there I didn't watch, and it just kind of. But yeah, Game of Thrones is definitely one I want to get on. But dude, Sons of Anarchy, I'm telling you. We'll see. To go back to your point, like as far as like knowing what happens, I gotta become invested in the characters. Yeah. Like for a show like and like Sons of Anarchy, I was just talking to somebody about this the other night. The reason to me that it was so good was because I was finding myself like almost on a weekly basis having like a new favorite character. Like everybody grew on me, you know what I mean? As obviously at some point like Jax is awesome, you know, Clay, Chibs, Tig, like all the, like there's so many like cool fucking characters on her. Like that's my favorite fucking character on there. Like everybody kind of like he kind of got like invested in the characters. And so, but if you already know what the hell's gonna happen to him, it's kind of like tough to give a shit. You know, like, oh, this guy's gonna buy it or whatever. Well, but we are a sidetrack machine. I don't even remember where we were going.
Well, we had planned tonight to talk about the Transformers '86,
the movie,
animated movie,
because the Blu-ray just came out.
Yeah, the Blu-ray just dropped on Tuesday.
So what we were gonna try to do was kind of like give a like we went way past it. Like this is like an hour-long intro, but it is the first episode. So
well, you know, and these guys feel like they know us now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like the thing is that like the 7 or 8 people that are listening to this are probably going to be people that know us already.
You're being a little
no, but I'm just
you're being a little generous there.
A little generous, maybe like 5 or 6. So if you've made it to this point, so we wanted to kind of like do like intros, kind of like letting y'all know like who we are and what we collect and all that stuff, and so we did that. But like on a side note, and you kind of got a little bit of that during the intros, like as far as like me and Levy, like. We've been friends for 21 years, like since we were like 19.
We met in 1995, I want to say.
I mean to do math. Yeah, so that would be 20. Yeah, like 21. So we're the same age. We just turned 40. We turned 40 within 10 days of each other, and we've known each other since we're like 19. So we were gonna try to like intro ourselves, but also kind of like give you an idea of like how we know each other and like why we're bothering to do this shit. So the why we're bothering to do this shit is a nice easy one, because it like we'll talk to each other, you know, for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. So about all the same shit. So we figured we would just lay it down and throw our opinions out there.
Yeah, just why not do it with an audience, right? We're going to talk about the shit anyway, right?
Especially because we can record it and cut out all the fucking dumb parts. But anyway, so that's why we're doing it. But as far as like how we know each other, so we, if I can remember correctly, we kind of didn't like each other in the very beginning because we were, you know, we just didn't, we were okay. So listen, we used to play Mortal Kombat. Levi Mall in Whitehall, they used to have an arcade right across the hallway or whatever from the pizza shop. Mm-hmm. So as like 19 and 20-year-olds, we spent our entire time either eating pizza or playing video games. So me and Levy kind of met through the arcade. We used to play like a lot of the fighting games. I played MK because again, I'm kind of like, not that I played like Street Fighter a little bit in some of the other games or whatever, but I was always major, just like a Mortal Kombat fan. And a bunch of these guys, a bunch of the friends I still have to this day, I kind of met at that arcade. So, but me and Levy didn't like each other because like, we were, you know, we used to fight each other all the time. Bitter rivals at the Mortal Kombat
none of us liked each other.
No, it was crazy.
I remember freaking hearing stories about how Joe said he wanted to kill you.
Yeah. Joe wasn't the first, and Joe will not be the last, I'm sure.
But yeah, no, we hated each other to start, but you know, we started getting this grudging respect.
Well, no, see, here's what happened for me. Like, it was like we played video games against you guys. Like, me and Chad used to come up, and John a little bit. And But then it was when I saw you over at DC shop over at Comic Masters across the street, and I was like, well, this dude plays video games and reads comic books and shit, so we should probably, at that point, like, you're 19, you just want to be friends with everybody. So at that point, you play video games and you read comic books, you're my friend now. So I remember running into this cat over at Comic Masters, and we started, like, you know, bullshitting and stuff. So we've been friends for a long time, and just in case any of our parents happen to be listening to this, there's going to be times where we're probably going to tell you about times where we probably should have been arrested or dead. I just want to put that out there. But we're alive now, and we have no police records, so we made it through, so we could laugh about that shit now, just in case any of it comes up. Just in case any of it comes up.
We got lucky. You know, all the shit we pulled.
Yeah,
we got pretty damn lucky.
I mean, we didn't do anything crazy. We didn't, like, blow anything up, or, you know.
I mean,
we were never.
We didn't commit any felonies, but there was some vandalism involved.
Oh shit! You're gonna get beat with an alarm clock, son.
Yeah, that's a story for another time.
So anyway, so we know each other for a long time. It's basically long and short. I'm gonna try to keep that section of it short since we went crazy long in the first part.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Blu-ray, the Transformers movie from '86. The Blu-ray just came out.
Did you pick your copy up yet?
No, mainly because I just don't have a Blu-ray player.
Doesn't the Wii U have a Blu-ray?
If it does, see how out of the loop.
Does it play movies?
No, I don't even. You know what, man? I can't even tell you.
I'm pretty sure it's a
mainly
Blu-ray.
because I have
it's got a Blu-ray.
I have a DVD player, so I've just been popping the shit in the DVD player for all this time. I don't even know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to pick it up.
There's going to be a lot of times where you're going to hear me say, "I'm out of the loop."
Yeah, you definitely got to pick that shit up on Blu-ray, because let me tell you, this movie has never looked better.
Yeah. So you watch it on the like a Blu-ray on the ass kicker TV.
Yeah, I watched that shit on my 4K TV.
Right.
Now, I mean, it wasn't in 4K obviously because it's a Blu-ray. Blu-ray's only, you know, they can only do 1080p.
But still, it's a nice.
But yeah, but what's nice though is they remastered this in 4K. Okay, and then they transferred that to 1080p for the Blu-ray disc. And excuse me.
This dude, okay, real quick, just for half a second, we're drinking a couple beers. That's why this is gonna go slightly downhill as time goes on. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so in one of the special features, you know, there's they had the making of the new 30th anniversary edition, and they show comparative screenshots and such, and there's so much more detail in the new 1080p version. Like you see detail that you've never seen before. Like the scene where Megatron is reformatted when he goes to the wireframe,
right,
and stuff. Like in the original version, like those lines and stuff, they're so glowy purple.
Yeah.
That a lot of the detail gets lost in the haze. In this, you see every line. You know, you see all this line work that all these artists did and everything, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And like on my TV, like a lot of modern TVs, they have this thing called motion smoothing. It's called different things from different brands. Like I believe my Sony TV calls it Cinemotion. But basically, it
sounds dirty.
Yeah. But it just basically smooths out the frame rate. And by my understanding, I guess it actually kind of
frame blending, kind of like frame blending.
Well, it actually fills in extra frames based on the frames ahead and behind it.
Right.
And so it creates what's called the soap opera effect. I don't know if you ever seen that, because apparently like soap operas run, like standard TV runs at 24 frames per second.
Right.
Like TV movies, you know, they run at a standard 24 frames per second. But like your live stuff, your reality TV, your soap operas, they run at a faster frame rate. I'm not actually sure what frame rate they run at. Maybe 42 frames per second, something like that. Anybody out there correct me if I'm wrong. But
my cameras have 24 and 30 on them.
Yeah.
It might be 30, but it might be higher.
It might be. But it has a weird effect on the eye. You can notice the difference, and a lot of people
absolutely can, dude.
A lot of people don't like that. Like the Hobbit movies, they film those at like 42 frames per second, I believe, 42 or 48, and people didn't like it. See, the thing is, I like that effect. I come from, video games, a big video game background. I still play, a lot of video games to this day. So I'm always looking to play my video games at 60 frames per second. So I'm used to that, the way that looks. And so
that's going to be as real as it's going to, like, lifelike, at 60 frames a second.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely looks a lot smoother. It
There's not going to be as much blur,
right? It seriously lessens motion blur, if not completely eliminate. Well, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't really completely eliminate it, but it would really reduce motion blur. Mm-hmm. So everything looks much more sharp and crisp, right. But then it just doesn't look right because your eye is so used to seeing video and everything in 24 frames per second. So it's a bit jarring if you're not used to it, and so people don't like that. But when I watched it, you could really notice it, especially like when things were scrolling in parallax and stuff. And to me, that looks great. I love that. It had, since it was animation though, it did have the appearance of like those motion comics and stuff. So, but to me, I enjoyed the way that looked.
I'm probably when I come over for the Ash versus the Evil Dead marathon, we might have to spin that one too, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to see it otherwise.
But and on my TV and most TVs nowadays, you can either reduce the effect or turn it off completely. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like it, you can turn that off. On that's a TV setting. Excuse me. So, but yeah, the movie in 1080p has never looked or sounded better.
Yeah.
It was an absolute treat to watch. I felt like a 10-year-old again watching this movie. And I had the sound cranked up, I had the lights off, and I'm just sitting there just taking it all in, and it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I definitely got to catch that.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good segue. You say you felt like a 10-year-old. So let's just go kind of, I want to say in a nutshell only because we go off and shit with like the
nutshell's about to take a whole new meaning around.
Yeah, let's go through the movie real quick. Do we have to say spoiler alert on a
I don't think we need to say spoiler alert on a 30-year-old movie. So I think there should be a statute of limitations on spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen Sixth Sense by now, dude, you need to get on that shit. All right.
All right. So let's go through it quick. What's up? What's up with you? Why don't you come up here and stop yelling at me? Yep. It's a 2-man, 1-girl show right now.
Yeah. But when did you see it in the theater?
Okay, see, this is the crazy thing, man. I did not, for as big of a fan as I am, this is embarrassing. This is nerd embarrassing. So I saw the Rock Lords movie in the theater. Like,
are you fucking kidding me?
No,
dude?
I'm not kidding you, man. Well, listen, see, shit gets twisted. It's not. I'm not going to try to make excuses for myself. I did not see Transformers the movie in the theater.
But you saw Rock Lords.
But I saw Rock Lords.
You saw fucking Rock Lords. Yeah.
So
yeah, Rock Lords.
The first time I saw it, and it was actually they were running it on TV like as a series, like they did in like all week thing.
Yeah.
And they just give you 20 minutes at a time, or like 50, whatever. Or was
they split it up into like 3 or 4 episodes.
3 or 4. It was like 3. Yeah, it might not have been all week. It was like 3 or 4. So my pops taped it. Like every one of them for me, and then like we watched it and shit, and he.
Oh, your dad watched it with you?
Yeah. Which was awesome, but also obviously got bad at a time because like let's just admit it, everybody. Like you were 10 years old when Optimus Prime dies. It's kind of like like you got that cool uncle.
Yeah,
like Optimus Prime was kind of our cool uncle, and it was like watching our cool uncle die, and it was really sad, man. And I would remember like getting
But the thing is, like the season 3 had already started when you had seen this.
Yeah, but still, you had to watch that shit.
Right, but you knew going in that Optimus Prime had already died.
Yeah,
right?
You did, but there was something about seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, see, this kind of goes back to our conversation we were having about how you knew the endings, but so I guess in certain cases you really get. He was just an iconic.
Yeah.
I feel like if you put, and I don't know, I'm sure there was probably a study done or some shit, but you throw like Mickey Mouse and like Hulk Hogan and like. Optimus Prime and like Superman and like the biggest characters from like every from cartoon, like this cartoon and that cartoon and wrestling and whatever, like across the world,
captured the imagination.
People kind of know who these characters are and stuff. So that was like he was kind of like a once in a lifetime character. So it was still easy to get attached to him, even though you knew he wasn't going to be around for season 3.
Of course.
But then you had to like watch the whole thing and think, well, first of all, let's back it up. So going into it, you saw the previews. You kind of knew there was this like giant planet, you know, eating other planets and shit. And you kind of got like a taste of the new characters or whatever. We didn't know what was going to happen, but like I can kind of like go back in time and trace when my childhood started to end to one moment. And it was the right in the beginning when they sent the shuttle away from Cybertron.
Yeah.
Now listen, we've been watching 2 seasons of fucking lasers just bouncing off of people.
These guys, they'll take a laser in the face in season 1 and 2.
Yeah, like sometimes it wouldn't even affect
Braun
him.
gets shot in the shoulder and he's done.
Right.
Blows a hole right through him. Smoke coming out of him.
Yeah, but you didn't know right away because that's like, all right, maybe he just went down. It was the first one. It all happened so fucking quick, man.
Yeah.
And I'm talking from the eyes of a 10-year-old right now.
Shit got real.
Braun hit the dirt, and then Prowl got shot up.
Right. Yeah. Shit got real when you saw Prowl's eyes go dark and him vomiting smoke.
That was the one. Yeah,
okay.
That was the one.
It's like, okay, so the Decepticons, you know, they break into the shuttle. They, you know, Braun does his thing. Braun goes down. You're like, oh, okay. Well, he just got shot in the shoulder. He's okay. He's just knocked unconscious because, you know, robots go unconscious, right? But then freaking Prowl gets up, freaking tries to shoot, misses. And then
I don't know how you missed that many guys all standing.
Scavenger just freaking shoots him once, and it's like eyes go dark, smoke billowing out his face, and you're like, okay, Ratchet will fix him up.
Right.
And then they kill Ratchet.
Yeah.
And then they kill Ratchet and Ironhide. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, pretty much.
They're not dead. They can't be dead. They're robots. And then, you know, everybody knows
it's such a rogue nonsense.
Yeah. It's like, my jaw was on the floor. And I saw this in the theater. My dad took me to see this movie on his birthday. Because his birthday is August 8th.
Right.
It was a Friday. And I've been begging him for weeks to take me to see Transformers on opening day. Mm-hmm. So when he got home from work, he says, Lev, get your shoes on. We're going out. It's like, okay.
What I would have did right there was put only shoes on.
That would have been funny. But no, so we went out and he took me down to the Whitehall Mall, which is right across from the Lehigh Valley Mall, because that was the only theater in the Lehigh Valley that I remember playing it. I think one of my friends said it was playing at some other. He said he saw it at some other theater, but I don't remember what theater he said he saw it in. But the one that we went to see it at was the Whitehall Mall Plaza Theater, and I was so excited, you know. It's like to see these guys on the big screen. You know, I've been watching the cartoon for, you know, year and a half or whatever, however long season 1 and 2 were. And, you know, I love these characters. You know, they really struck a chord with me when I was a kid. And, you know, just transforming robots. They're like the coolest fucking thing ever, right?
Right.
You know, you got a car that transforms into a robot, you know, and a tape recorder that turns into a robot, and his tapes turn into robots, and it's like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
It was the toy that kept on giving.
Yeah. You got 2 toys in one.
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes 6.
But so yeah, I love these characters, man, and just seeing them on the screen, and I'd never seen them look the way they looked. You know, like even when you're a kid, you notice the difference in the animation and art quality on the screen, and it looked absolutely beautiful. I was stunned when I saw this movie.
They got the A-team together for that one.
Yeah, and I distinctly remember, you know, feeling these things when I was you know, a kid, and you know, I don't remember a lot from when I was a kid, but I remember these feelings that I had watching this movie, and
the animation made the difference between like when you're watching the cartoons, it could have been them fighting, or it could have been like you and your boys in the backyard with like a Nerf gun shooting shit at each other, or like water guns or some shit. Yeah. But then when the movie came out,
go back to More Than Meets the Eye Part 1, where they're on the oil rig, and they're just kind of all standing there flat-footed, just swinging their arms around.
Yeah. The movie came out, and that animation was so good, and it made it larger than life, and it made it real. You know what I mean? It just sucked you right in, right from the very beginning, when like Unicron eats the first planet, and everybody had their jaw hanging. I mean, maybe the parents didn't, but like we did. Yeah. As a 10-year-old, I was like, I can't.
My dad sacrificed a lot to watch this movie with me.
Did you ever ask him? Did you ever like go back and ask him like, what do you thought? Hey,
Chuck. No, I should go back. I should go back and ask my dad. He probably doesn't even remember.
No, probably.
He probably doesn't even remember. But I can imagine at the time him thinking, that is an hour and a half of my life I will never have back.
Yeah.
But so the shuttle.
Right.
They killed off so many of my favorite characters, you know.
The shuttle scene up until the Such Heroic Nonsense line was still salvageable. That was the real, like you thought when Prowl got shot up, that didn't look so good.
Ratchet will fix him up.
But all of them, even after the two Vanbots get shot up, like you still thought they're gonna
Wheeljack's still around.
Yeah, right. There's somebody who's gonna fix these motherfuckers, man. You know.
Hey, Wheeljack's still around, man. He can fix them up.
But then when that was it.
Should probably stop watching now, kid.
Yeah. So anyway, and as an adult, you realize that they had to clear the way for the new line of toys.
Of course. I mean, we all know that's what the real reason for this was.
But fucking
they had no idea the phenomenon that it had already become, you know, to these kids.
Did you know that well, you know what, we can talk about that when we get up to the Prime Death, but you're right. You're absolutely right. They had no idea. They had no idea it was going to fuck us up for life.
Yeah. Yeah, they had no idea the effect this was going to have on the kids, because they just thought the kids saw these things as toys. And they were personalities. They were real people to us.
Yep.
Only to you and me, you know, and I'm sure I could say the same for anybody listening out there that's a big hardcore Transformers fan. These weren't just toys. They weren't plastic and metal to us. They were living people to us.
Just to make that point, to solidify that point, when Chris Latta dies, Scatman Crothers dies, like the characters kind of die with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's like, man, Starscream, Jazz, the guy. What was the guy? Buster Jones, was that Jones. His name? Yep, the one that did Blaster. Like, and
the guy that voiced Thundercracker, I can't remember his name.
Oh, he's dead. See, I didn't even that one. He died a couple years ago. So like, man, I feel like, dude, it's gonna be a sad day. I don't even want to talk about it.
No, Peter. No, we're not talking about that. Forget you ever heard that, folks.
So we'll segue that into
we're going to edit that one out.
No, that's cool. That'll lead into the Optimus Prime.
What are you doing, man?
I'm fucking up. I got 3 beers. I got 3.5 beers in me. That's what happens. But so it was pretty much about like the death of the old characters was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The Optimus Prime death, man. I remember. Like not even like.
Well, hold on. Before we get to the Optimus Prime death, let's talk about. Excuse me. Let's talk about, you know, let's talk about the new characters, okay? Because right after that scene, the first thing we see is Hot Rod, right?
Right.
You know, and
fishing. Yeah,
fishing with Daniel, and I'm like, well, and I didn't say it in so many words, but who the fuck are these chuckleheads?
Right.
Like Daniel, I mean, that looks like kind of like Spike, but he's younger.
I like how they put the big D. They had the big D on it, like,
yeah,
just in case you were.
In case you forget your first letter, your first name, there, buddy. But like Hot Rod, I'm like, who is this guy? And so I didn't know what to think about the new characters, but Hot Rod was all right for about 10 minutes.
For about 10 minutes, yeah.
And then, you know, you saw Cup. You didn't realize Cup was going to be a major character at first. You know, when he came driving down, Hot Rod almost hit him and stuff. You didn't realize he was going to be a major character. But, I mean, what were you thinking when you saw the new characters?
I don't I don't know that I thought anything. I thought it was cool because I mean, you did go through. They did a good job of sprinkling new characters in, like across the first couple seasons. The only bummer leading up to the movie was like there were certain characters that got left out, which the comic books kind of made something out of. Like they put the Top Spin and Twin Twist where they were in the Wreckers, and Whirl and Roadbuster never really.
Well, they weren't included in the series and stuff because of licensing issues.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So I mean, there were like certain characters that got left out, like the
licensing issues.
The deluxe Insecticons.
Same thing.
Never saw the light of day.
Yep.
So it was cool. Like, I mean, we still got a pretty decent amount of characters, but it was cool, like seeing the movie where they were introducing new ones. And at that point, I was cool with it. Had I known they were going to be taking place of the old characters, I probably wouldn't have been as cool with it. Because, like, I mean, maybe we were all like that. I think. Not just with this, but with a lot of things in life, like even with people and stuff, I get attached to people kind of quick. And I got attached to those damn characters, man. And had I known somebody was going to be trying to come in and take the place of them, I wouldn't have been too psyched.
All I can say is I am so happy that Jazz survived the movie.
He did, but he didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scatman Crothers died like 3 months after the movie came out. And so he never had a speaking role again.
Did you... Now you'll have
very few speaking roles. I think he might have had some speaking roles in like the early episodes of season 3, but after Scatman Crothers died, he didn't.
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
he
that
really
he
was a
did.
non-presence in season 3.
There was one part. It was one part, and we kind of talk about it a little bit. And it may, now, you know what? I didn't even realize like what the whole storyline was behind it, because there was this in the beginning of Five Faces of Darkness, which was the first series after the movie. They had this race, and it was Jazz was in the race.
Yep, and didn't he beat Monka Spanka?
No, he was Monka Spanka.
Wait, what?
I'm pretty sure he was. He won the race, and they were like, because they were like,
oh really?
Introducing him as the winner. Yeah. Why would they introduce the runner-up? You know what I mean? He was definitely the winner.
I haven't seen Five Faces in Darkness.
Go back and watch if you haven't. Like all you old heads, if you didn't actually notice it like we did, which I'm probably sure a lot of you guys did, but go back and watch the race where the character that looks like Jazz, that's not actually Jazz, is winning this race. They introduce him as Monka Spanka at the end, which as a kid, it was like, all right, it's just a weird alien name. And then like you go back and watch it years later, and they're like, the writers were sitting around sharing a little, that in, hope the censors don't notice, a little chuckle. But anyways, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought the new characters were cool. Like you said, if I had known at the time that they were going to be replacing the old characters, yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I loved the movie when I was watching it as a kid, but at the same time, it was bittersweet for me because I knew it was moving into a new chapter. Yeah, and that I was going to see very little of the characters I loved. Yeah. So I mean, I started, I like the new characters. I mean, Hot Rod. Don't get me started on Hot Rod. I got a sore spot.
Hot Rod is like a
usurper.
I remember just not liking Judd Nelson anymore, man. New Jack City and like the Breakfast Club would come on and it would be like, fuck that guy, man. Yeah. Like he did it.
Yeah. But when the Decepticons actually ended up attacking Autobot City, that was an awesome scene. Yeah. And just watching all that and when Devastator, when the Constructicons formed Devastator.
Yeah, that was killer.
Yeah, and but Springer, I love Springer's line when he's...
It's the line.
Yeah, when he's picking up that shell. He's like, got better things to do tonight than die.
That's the best line in the movie, dude. Yeah. That's the best line in the movie.
But my favorite moment in the film, and this, anybody that knows me, and they know this, and I'm sure everybody listening will, can figure it out. The best scene in the movie is when Optimus Prime finally comes down.
Comes down
to Earth.
Oh,
he comes to
yeah,
Earth.
He
comes down to Autobot City.
Oh, yeah.
And just that moment when he's standing there.
Yeah.
And it's just, to this day, I still get that chill going up my spine when he says, his line, Megatron must be stopped no matter the cost.
It's the touch, man.
And just slowly transforms and the touch kicks in.
Right.
And I still get the same feeling every time I hear that song.
Yeah.
Because that song is so ingrained in my memory to that scene and to those emotions. So, but just watching him just plow through those Decepticons and
yeah, that was good, man. The whole thing was good. Like the whole damn thing was good. Like the best was like they showed the animators did such a good fucking job, dude.
Yeah.
Like the truck coming up and they show him rolling along, but then they just show the front, like his grill and like Thrust is in the grill, and then but you don't actually see him hit. They cut right to a scene where like Thrust goes flying.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking great animation and just like great storyboarding and the whole thing. It's just awesome, man. It's like you've like it's almost like watching wrestling. You know this shit is scripted, but you find yourself like getting fired up. At least watching it. But
yeah, like after all the deaths that you just witnessed, you see Prime coming down,
fucking ass.
you know that he's gonna start hitting back.
Yeah.
And he's gonna start kicking ass and taking names and doing it for his fallen comrades. But and going into the movie, like I had seen the TV spots and stuff, and they said, does Prime die in big booming voice, and I didn't take the hint. I didn't take the hint. It's like, no, Prime's not gonna die.
No, you fool.
How's Prime gonna die?
Yeah, right.
And as I'm in the trailer, I'm watching him take 3 laser shots to the face. It's like, Prime's not gonna die.
It's like the Simpsons when the chicken or the pig is flying, and it keeps like getting fucked up, and they keep going, still good.
But the death scene, when he's laying there, and Preceptor, says, "I fear the wounds are fatal." It starts hitting home, and every boy that went and saw that movie, if they tell you today that they didn't cry during that scene,
depending on what age they were.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like every boy, every little boy, is like 8, 10, 6, 7 years old. If they tell you they didn't cry during that scene, they're a fucking liar.
They are lying.
Okay, because you're going to see Transformers movie because you're a Transformers fan. You're a Transformers fan
because Optimus Prime was like
you're an Optimus Prime fan.
Yeah.
Okay. If you say you didn't cry when Optimus Prime died, I'm calling you a liar.
Yeah, and you would be right, dude. I had to leave the damn room, man. I did. Yeah. I was like, again, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it, so I didn't even have the benefit of it being in the dark and just being able to hide it. I was sitting there watching the shit in broad daylight, on the TV with my dad or whatever, and that part came up, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. I'm like, I kept telling him I kept going out to the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was getting a lot of drinks and getting a lot of snacks.
Yeah.
Because I just did not want to be.
I was flat out balling, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Optimus Prime was a hero to me. A lot of people, they like their Superman, they like their Batman. For me, it was Optimus Prime. And to watch your hero fall like that when at a young age, that really hits you.
And little did you know that he was going to like come back from death about 17 times during cartoons.
Well, the first time he comes back, they kill him again before the end of the episode, right before your very eyes.
Yeah,
get to watch him die again. Thanks Hasbro. Because the first time wasn't hard enough.
Yeah, that was some crazy shit, man. That was some crazy shit. They really kind of, and this goes back to a point that you made earlier about them not knowing the effect it was going to have. And you probably heard this, and a lot of people, the 3 out of the 5 people that are listening to this are probably like know about this already. But the outcry about Prime's death actually changed G.I. Joe the movie. Did you ever hear that one? So they were originally Duke. Was supposed to die.
Yes, he was.
And they changed the whole damn script so that he would end up going into a coma rather than death, because like people, like, Jesus Christ,
people
man.
were gonna lose their fucking shit.
People were gonna lose their fucking shit because like it was always, and that all tied in, like the G.I. Joe and the Thundercats and all that shit was out around the same time. So we watched all that shit. You probably did too. So like, Jesus Christ, man, we just watched this damn movie, I didn't know, like, Thundercats come out, kill Lion-O, you know what I mean? It would just been just like one nonstop. We would have all been fucked up.
Yeah.
But no, on a serious note though, that was a pretty crazy scene, man. But then it was on. Then after that, it was all just like you got kind of, you started, it was well written. Like they fucked everybody up in the beginning, kind of gave you like a few minutes to get over that shit, and then the battle was going on at that point, and then you kind of like started getting attached to the new characters. Did a lot of shit that made it easy to get attached to them. You know, like everybody kind of had their, except for Hot Rod, until he ends up, you know, becoming Rodimus, but he still kind of held a grudge at the end. But like Cup, they replaced, you know, they got rid of Ironhide, so they needed that like old fart character or whatever. So Cup was kind of filling that void, and like Blur was a goofball, and you kind of like, there was everybody was cool except Wheelie.
Replaced Bumblebee.
Yeah, but Wheelie was a goofball.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real, man. Like Bumblebee was kind of a goofball, and you know, I know there's Bumblebee,
he was a lovable goofball,
but he was a lovable goofball. Wheelie, like
Wheelie
would be that
annoying.
cat you don't hang out with.
Him and Daniel were just fucking annoying.
Yeah, they were
in the show.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, like just to say how annoying Wheelie was. Like they put Wheelie with the Dinobots, and the Dinobots were pretty awesome, and he still found a way to be annoying.
Yeah.
But everybody.
Well, speaking of the Dinobots, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Dinobots, it was in the movie that they definitely had to change a character.
Yeah, they did.
They kind of became more goofy.
Yeah.
And less serious, because like in the first 2 seasons, they were ass kickers.
Yeah.
You didn't fuck with the Dinobots. You didn't fuck with the Dinobots unless you're.
I love it.
Yeah, you didn't fuck with the Dinobots unless your name rhymed with Evastator.
Right.
Okay. But when the movie rolled around, like the whole character changed. Like they kind of became comic relief almost.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Seam Salami, Brilliant Baloney argument, you know, excuse me, you know, as he's trampling over a Quintesson.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. But they I think they lost a bit of their edge.
Yeah, they did.
So
there was a way to, the comic books did it really cool, man. There was a way to and I agree 100% with you. They did become goofballs. They were still like kind of ass kickers, but they didn't carry that same like edge to them or whatever. And I understand what they were trying to do, and maybe they didn't do it as well as they really wanted to, because you can get some badass characters and still have them like make you chuckle and stuff.
Yeah,
I think the comic book did a really good job of it. The early, like the Dreamwave stuff.
Yeah.
Like they still kind of carried, like, you just don't fuck with them, man. There was this, I remember the one poster, like they just had the 5 of them together, and they were standing there and it just looked like a fucking gang, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember this one scene in, and I don't remember who the hell they were fighting. It was either one of the Seekers, or it might have been Blitzwing and a couple of the Triple Changers. I'd have to go back and check it out again, but they were fighting the Dinobots, and they didn't even show the fight. They just show them about to get together and fight. You turn the page, and the first panel is a close up of, I'm gonna go with Blitzwing because I think it was Blitzwing, of his face, and then they zoom out, and you realize that there's a hand holding it, and it's just hanging there by itself.
Yeah.
And as you zoom back, it's Slag. Like they're all like, the Dinobots are all like, I think they were riding on some tank or some shit. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but Slag is holding the head, and it was like, and it was,
did he cut it off?
or
was he just holding his body? And
no, they let your imagination take over. You know what I mean? They showed him about to clash, and then they came back, and the next scene was him just holding the head.
Yeah,
and there was like a exchange between him and Grimlock and shit like that, and it was like well written, and it was kind of like funny, you know, and it was like goofy, but at the same time they were still like, you don't fuck with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the cartoon kind of lost that a little bit. Like they were goofballs, man, after, like, from the movie on. But yeah, man, where the hell were we going with all this shit? So yeah, so we made it through the Prime Death scene, you know, and introducing the new characters. Once the new characters were introduced and they kind of like gave you a reason to let them grow on you, then it was all good. Like Springer was fucking cool because he was like Dirty Harry, you know what I mean? Like Magnus was kind of all right.
Yeah,
he was a little too uptight.
Well, you know, and that became a character trait for him,
right?
Even through different iterations of the character,
you need that guy. You need that guy.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
he was like that in the comic book too.
Transformers Animated, Transformers Prime. You know, he's always that by the book.
He's the cop.
Yeah,
he's the cop.
Now, the other scene that gets me actually is when Unicron reformats the Decepticons.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this is another example of it really hitting home that they were really getting rid of all the old characters.
Because that was it.
Yeah.
Because you watched it happen.
Yeah, and I still, thought of Galvatron as Megatron.
Mm-hmm. But all the rest of them probably
it's like Galvatron really was a different character, just in the way he behaved, the way he spoke, and like I can't remember, did they play up the insanity aspect of his character in the series, or was that just the comic book?
No, it was in the series. Well, I mean, they even had that one episode, that Web World episode, where like he was even too
I don't remember
nuts.
much of season 3, so
He was even I still got a little bit of it.
Yeah.
He was even too crazy for Cyclonus to put up with his shit.
Yeah.
So they went to this Web World, they called it, and it was these Planet of the Ape looking fuckers, right? Mm-hmm. And they pretty much like put him through. They were trying to get his shit together, get his sanity together. Like he was even too wild for people. Like he was fucking everybody up. So, so it was basically kind of like, I don't know. They were trying to like get him under control. Yeah. But they were doing these like different exercises, and like the one that makes me laugh all the time is they put him at a table. Like it was like I don't want to say art class, but they had everybody sitting at a table with these like pieces in front of them, and they were supposed to build some shit out of it. Uh-huh. Like something good, something constructive, you know what I mean, or whatever. So Galvatron puts together, like he's like sitting over there piecing this shit together, and they're talking, and like all of a sudden you look over and he's got like a pistol put together out of the pieces and just starts. So yeah, they really did. They did play up him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he was. Like to me, like Gal's was Meg's off his medicine.
Yeah.
You know, and Meg's was crazy enough.
But it just when they reformatted new characters, it was just one more thing, just saying your old characters are gone.
They're out.
Yeah.
There ain't no more Seekers and no more. The bugs are gone, and everybody's. Soundwave made it.
Yeah, he
Soundwave
did.
made it for
but
the whole
he
series.
he kind of got replaced too. I mean, because Cyclonus was kind of took his place.
Yeah, but he was always around though.
He was, but he really didn't do much, if I remember.
No.
After that, a lot of the season 1 and season 2 characters really didn't have much to do.
There really wasn't. There was just him and a couple of tapes, and there was Bumblebee was the only one left from Cliff Jumper and Jazz.
Cliff Jumper.
But like Cliff Jumper really didn't.
Well, he didn't really do anything either because Casey Kasem had already quit the show by that point.
Yeah, fucking ponderous man. You never heard that, the Casey Kasem outburst?
Yeah.
Fucking ponderous man.
You know why Casey Kasem quit, right?
Because I'm like forgetting, but as soon as you say it, I'll probably.
Well, you remember? I can't remember what the name of the country was, but they had some
Carbamia.
Carbamia. That's what it
was. Carbamia,
and then a whole bunch of other.
That's like Monka Spanka.
Stupid names.
They threw that Carbamia out there. We didn't know what the fuck they were trying to say.
Casey Kasem is Jordanian, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's Lebanese. I think he's Lebanese. Or he was Lebanese. Something like that. And he didn't like it. Yeah. And walked out.
And that was that.
Yeah. So
yeah, you know what? Now that you're saying it, I just kind of remember you telling me that, but I'm sure I'm going to forget it again, and you're going to be able to tell me again at some point.
Yeah. So he quit the show. So
so there was really
Cliff Jumper really didn't have anything to do in the third season.
Yeah.
So, which is funny too, though, because they always had, because I read Dan Gilvezan's book, Bumblebee and Me, My Life as a G1 Transformer, and he was saying how like different voice actors would tackle the same character. Like him and Greg Berger, the guy that voices Grimlock, they both voiced Outback at different points.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he said that. I'm pretty sure he said Berger always got the credit for it, but I remember him saying, at least I think, this is what he said, but he said that he distinctly remembers him and Greg Berger voicing Outback.
Yeah.
Or was it Tailgate? But yeah, so I mean, I don't know why they didn't just get somebody else to voice the character. I mean, us kids probably wouldn't have noticed all that much.
I think, I don't know, man. I think a lot of this shit was pieced together more than we even know.
Yeah.
You know, like you have an idea in your head how an episode is put together, and in your head it's real orderly, and these guys, write it, and these guys storyboard it, and you got your animators, and you got your voice actors, and then your sound effects guys, and everything's all orderly. And I'm pretty sure that maybe that ain't exactly how it goes, If
this podcast is Anything to go on?
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're going to take notes next time. We just kind of got like a basic idea what we wanted to do.
It's
and that's
just
what we're doing.
test.
So next time we're going to have like a list that we're going to follow. But we figure that a lot of people out there ADHD like we are. So you're probably maybe following right along. But so now we're okay. So I like how we go to a piece.
I mean, we don't have to go through the whole movie or anything.
Piece
But
of the
I just,
movie in it.
But I mean, because all these people have seen it. They know the movie. But I do want to talk about the death of Starscream.
That was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, he finally got his comeuppance.
Yeah.
But again, it was bittersweet because I love Starscream.
Because you love Starscream. Because
You love Starscream.
He was such a dickhead.
But the thing is, what I like in the comics, from what I understand, like I said, I don't read a lot of comics anymore, but I do try to keep up with the goings on. But Megatron, I imagine it might have been in IDW, might have been in something else, but he actually told Starscream that he values him as a warrior and as a member of the Decepticons. That he's actually good at what he does. It's just his ego just eclipses everything.
Right.
And his lust for power. But he obviously keeps him around for a reason. And he's this is just my hazy memory here, but from things that I've read, but he said that he could be destined for great things if he would just let go of that ego a little bit. And in the movie, when he, during his coronation and everything, like when you saw him standing there and he's like jacked,
yeah,
he's big, his boobs were fucking gigantic. It's the best way I can describe them. His turbine tits. It's the best way I can describe those things. But like he was just he was jacked, and he looked so awesome.
His boobs are ginormous.
Like I said, it's the best way I can describe it. But
so what you're saying in a nutshell is he looked imposing.
Yes. Thank you. That is a lot better than ginormous tits.
I can't remember the last time I saw
everybody. All right. So he looked awesome, and I was kind of hoping he was going to stick around.
Yeah.
But then Galvatron came down and ruined all that. But that was still an awesome scene, though.
The scene, the best was like they threw like some comical shit in there, and the scene with the horns is like to this day I've seen it 1,000 fucking times, and it makes me laugh every time, man.
Yeah. But so like I said, the Blu-ray movie has never looked better. I recommend everybody that's a Transformers fan, if you haven't gotten it yet, fucking get it.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed. Or
I'll just drive over to your house and watch it.
That too. But yeah, and definitely go out and get that shit because it'll be well worth your money. It's definitely a piece to add to your collection.
So yeah, and the last subject to quick go over is the soundtrack. Like, I don't give a fuck. I will jam that soundtrack every damn one of them.
Damn straight.
It don't matter. Like, if you really look at, I mean, you had like the Stan Bush stuff was like iconic, yeah, man, you just hear those songs and it automatically like takes you back to the scenes. You hear Dare or The Touch or whatever. And, but like some of that shit was heavy. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, by the standards of like that time, it was like, there was some pretty cool shit on there. Like especially the Spectre General and the NRG song and like even like the theme song, which you heard in the trailer, they added in the trailer.
Yeah. But like
was,
oh, what were you saying?
There was like that whole scene, the whole death scene, the whole Prowl, the Van Bots and Brawn, like that's just like, I don't know, man. Like, I still get psyched when I hear that shit today.
Yeah. Well, I think the scene and the memories of that scene really add a weight to that song.
Yeah. Because you hear it and you picture it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like all these songs. I mean, on this soundtrack you can't help but think back to the movie when you listen to these songs. You can't help but think back to those epic scenes, of your favorite characters dying and the heroes, doing their thing and whatnot. It just, everything is so linked to that. The songs are so ingrained into, or those memories, I should say, are so ingrained into those songs. So you can't help but just get taken back to that.
Well, just to solidify that point, at the one, I don't remember what BotCon it was, but I think it was part of like when you pre-register and you could like get to like the exclusive packages and stuff. I think if I remember correctly, they put a disc out. It had like a bunch of Stan Bush stuff on there.
Till All Are One.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah, that was
right?
BotCon 97 in
and
Rochester.
they had like just the score. They had like songs and stuff. So you could actually like take, and I think I remember kind of putting a playlist together where I would like piece the score together with like the actual soundtrack songs to kind of put the movie in order.
Yeah.
And you didn't even need the movie anymore. I mean, you did, but you didn't need the movie necessarily. You could just listen to the music, the score, and the songs and shit like that, and just kind of like replay the whole damn movie in your head.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect in all. I mean, it's still, you can still watch it today and it's still good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the soundtrack was pretty fucking awesome, man. And just to throw a shameless plug out there, I got this. I was in a band called Angel Down for a couple years, and I played with this drummer, Tony Fucci, one of my boys, and we missed playing together. He moved down to North Carolina, and so now that we have all this technology and internet and ways to keep in touch a lot easier than we used to, we decided to keep this little like band together, this two-man band, because I play bass and guitar and do vocals and stuff. He plays drums, so we can kind of, at least in a recording sense, kind of like still throw songs together. So we decided to keep this put this band together. We call it the McCullen Project. And like for all those nerds out there, fellow nerds that didn't know like what the hell the name meant, you should know what it meant, because that was Destro's name. Did you know that?
Yes.
So Tony's a big G.I. Joe fan, and I was a Transformer fan. As a matter of fact, the little like couple of first batch of songs that we did, we wanted to give it like an album title, and we called it Only Human, which was the episode where Cobra Commander guest starred in Transformers and turned RC, who was it? RC, Magnus, Hot Rod, Springer,
the core four,
and the picture Cypher that we did for like what would be the CD cover. If there was a CD, was like a close up of Destro's face, and his eyeball was Vector Sigma. So there was like all kinds of like nerd shit kind of like tucked into the whole project. So the first song that we did was a cover of Spectre General, Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way. So if you're into hard rock / heavy metal, you might want to go check that out, the McCullen Project, and Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way. So we kind of tore that song up,
and that's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube, or you can check the video out on we have a Facebook page too. You can look us up on Facebook. But we kind of did the song for Harris. Does the stop motion animations,
Harris
those
Lorero.
Incredible fucking stop motion animations, and he's kind of he did that Generations not too long ago, maybe about a year ago, and he's doing like a bunch of little ones in between, but he's building up to like a bigger one, and we thought it would be such a like, people will shit their pants, man, if they're watching, because his animation is incredible, and he's a big G1 fan like we are, and he's basically kind of doing, using the Masterpiece figures and stuff and doing this like G1 films and stuff like that. And we thought it would be just like really badass to have his animation and have that song thrown in there, like people will just shit a nostalgia brick. So definitely go check that out. And we have a couple other things that we're working on musically, but it's a lot of fun and you should check us out. But anyway, so there's the soundtrack, the movie, so everything's in the book. So that kind of segues into another thing we wanted to talk about was the Michael Bay films.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the '86 movie, and that naturally, leads right into, the more recent modern films.
Right. I mean, of course, not skipping, but we're not really, you know, going through Beast Wars and Armada and.
Well, we're just talking.
We're just kind of
movies.
like talking like movies and stuff like that. Because like if you talk to like the old head fans like us that are in our age range and shit, you know, the G1ers, I guess as they call us and stuff. It's kind of like the '86 movie is the only movie. You know, like you watched the new ones, and I'm not gonna say I didn't watch the damn thing. Well, I didn't watch the last one. I didn't watch 4. I saw pieces of it here and there.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah, and like, you know,
to be honest, you didn't miss much.
When the first one came out,
no knock on anybody who enjoyed it, but
no, I mean, you know, everybody, you know, we're all different. We all like different things and stuff, and I think a lot of times it is an age thing. You know, because we were introduced to them a certain way, and we were given something else, and it was kind of a little weird. But at the time, when we found out that they were getting a fucking live action movie, we were like beside ourselves, man. This is going to be the most awesome thing since, you know.
Do you realize that the Michael Bay movie franchise is almost 10 years old?
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Like like,
so say a 10-year-old who watched the Michael Bay film, you know, in 2007.
Yeah.
He's what, 19 today?
Right.
You know? So, I mean, to him, that's his Transformers.
Right.
You know? So
Optimus Prime has lips. That kid that kid knows Optimus Prime as a big dude that has lips.
Yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to say is that it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, to us, the G1 is what we grew up with.
Right.
You know, that's the one that made the biggest impression on us. Now, somebody who was around, you know, who was a young kid in 1994, you know, they're Beast Wars. You know, they're all about the Beast Wars. That's what pulled them into the universe.
Right.
You know, so I mean,
we liked the hairband era of Transformers, and those guys liked the grunge,
the glam metal.
Yeah, we were the glam metal,
glam rock,
glam rockers, and the Beast Wars kids were that was like the grunge era of Transformers.
But so I mean, as much flack as the Bay films get, I can definitely appreciate what they've done for the fandom and for the franchise.
Yeah.
You know, where they've brought in new people, and the more people that like Transformers, doesn't matter what they are, whether it's, you know, G1, Beast Wars, Armada, the Armada trilogy, animated Prime, Bayverse. It doesn't matter what they are, as long as they're Transformers fans.
Yeah.
You know, we're all fans of the same franchise. You know, and when you go on, you know, message boards and Facebook groups and stuff, you know, you see so much vitriol and toxicity between different fandoms.
They're defending family, like it's like they're defending family.
Yeah, and really, you should look at the whole thing as being part of the same family. You know?
Yeah.
So that's just my take on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like in a like an impulse reaction to all the new stuff. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate it, man. I fucking hate it. Like you know, going back to when we were all going to see it for the first time, super psyched, and like you saw some previews and shit, but you like, you know, you really kind of didn't know what you were getting into until you got in there. And you know, if I was objective and try to watch the movie like not as the Transformers that we knew, like I make analogies a lot. You know, it's kind of like when a band gets a new lead singer. You know, when like David Lee Roth is no longer in Van Halen, or like you know, Joey Belladonna is no longer in Anthrax, or you know, Vince Neil's no longer in Motley Crue or whatever, and they get these new, like, you can't listen to it comparing it to the old shit. You got to kind of listen to it for its own thing. Mm-hmm. And I kind of try to look at it that way, and I'm still kind of like, it's okay, but it's just I just don't fucking like it, man. I don't like that they took old characters and kind of completely and totally just strayed from everything that was what the old characters were. Yeah. It's almost like if they would have just made up new characters. You know, I hate like they take when they reuse names. Like I think one of those little goofballs from the second movie, Skids. Like one of the little goofy ones.
Skids and Mudflap?
Skids and Mudflap. Like Skids, like when you say the name Skids, I think of Skids as like he was an intelligent, character in the
instead of a racist caricature.
I think he was only in like 1 or 2 episodes in the actual cartoon, if any.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, but in the cartoon or in the comic book he had a bigger role, and he was like, there was a certain character, and then you look at the character that they made him, and it's like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that.
Those 2 characters were awful.
They were all well. There was a lot of awful characters.
No, but they were especially awful because they bordered on offensive. They really did. I don't read so much. Fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Fuck you, Michael Bay. All right, that's just awful. Okay, that was really offensive.
They were kind of goofball characters. They really were. But I mean, like as a whole, like they were just something that like we weren't prepared for, being like fans of the old shit, and we and like, man, like you said, you get attached to the shit, so you kind of like, not that it should have been a straight, it shouldn't have been true to a fault necessarily, but it was just so far off the beaten path, you know, like some of the characters, like Megatron did. A scary looking bot on his own, but as far as like compared to the one that we knew, was just like something totally fucking different. Like Starscream, to me, Starscream looked like a giant like orangutan or some shit. Yeah. In robot mode, he was just kind of weird looking, and like everything was just like weird looking, man.
Well, the biggest problem for those for these Transformers is that when you got the shaky cam going on, and everything, it is so hard to tell what's what on. It's so hard to identify their anatomy.
Yeah.
When they're fighting and you got the shaky cam going on, you got all the dust and dirt flying through the air, the explosions. It's not a Michael Bay film without explosions. But yeah, it's so hard to really identify who's who and what's what. So there's that. But but in regards to the first film, as much shit as I give the Bay films, because I'm a harsh critic of those movies. The first movie I still find enjoyable. I can actually still sit down and watch that movie.
Yeah.
And be entertained by it. The other ones, not so much. Like 2 drags on so long, and it's got some pretty awful characters in it. The third one I liked better than the second, though I have to say the fight in the second movie between Prime and the 3 Decepticons, Megatron, Starscream, and Grindor, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that's still a treat to watch. I still like watching that scene. But the movie was way too long. I mean, everybody's heard these criticisms about the movies, but like the third one, I liked better. I think I could still watch the third one and be somewhat entertained by it. The fourth one was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
It was, and again, no knocking to anyone that enjoyed the movie. I mean, if you enjoyed it, that's great. I'm happy for you, but I just could not stand watching it in the theater. Like, I'm in the theater thinking, oh my God, I paid, was it $10, $12 for this thing?
Not me, Sonny.
Because the movie was just so full of product placement. Like blatant commercials. Like the scene where Stanley Tucci's sitting there holding that proto matter stuff or whatever, and it's floating around, and it's becoming different things. It becomes a freaking beat pill. And he's holding it up to the camera.
Yeah.
Saying, buy this. Well, he doesn't say buy it, but practically he's saying, buy this.
It was like the Truman Show. Remember the Truman Show, like where they would like throw product placement in there. Yeah, and it just took you out of the movie. Yeah.
It was. I mean, the fourth movie was just so bad with it, and like I said, it just broke the immersion.
Yeah.
And there was other things about that movie too, like the Dinobots. I mean, they didn't even try to explain them. They were just there.
They
just showed up.
Well, I heard that Michael Bay didn't even like the Dinobots, and I heard there was going to be like where he was just not going to put the Dinobots, so it could have been like a last minute, not a last minute, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, from what I understand, they didn't know how to incorporate them.
Yeah.
Into the story. Because
they were dinosaurs.
Right, and the purpose of transformation, especially in these movies, was disguise.
Yeah.
How is a giant walking T-Rex a disguise?
Well, that and I heard like he just didn't know how to. The way I heard it worded made me kind of crack up because he didn't know how to explain them away. Like, why are they there? Not just because of the whole disguise thing, but just like why in the first place.
Yeah.
There was no like good scientific, realistic. The word realistic was used in the description, and I'm like, they're robots from fucking outer space, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you? I mean, yeah, you gotta have reasons for shit happening, but to me, Dinobots were always a favorite of like everybody, so they have to be involved at some point. You can't say, oh, well, I don't like them. You know, you gotta find a way to put them in there. But I don't know, man. The whole,
but at least put some effort into the story as to why they're there.
Yeah.
You know, I love dumb action movies just as much as the next guy.
Sure.
But you have to at least be able to, like, the story has to make sense and have a cohesiveness to it. You know, otherwise it's just a bunch of, you know, action scenes followed by more action scenes.
Right.
Followed by explosions, followed by some exposition, followed by more action scenes, and that gets boring.
And don't get us wrong, we do want to see that stuff, but
but you have to have something to bring it all together and have it make some kind of sense within the context of the world that they're in.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, people say, "Oh, you're expecting realism from a movie about giant talking robots from outer space." Well, in that continuity or in that context, they do make sense. They are realistic in that context. Okay, but just Dinobots just showing up, you know, I mean, they were being held prisoner on the ship and everything. It's too convenient. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're gonna.
I don't know. I did not like the fourth movie at all. I won't be seeing the fifth movie.
I heard the fifth movie. I heard him talking about some King Arthur shit or something.
It's called The Last Night or something, and I'm
waiting for a reboot. I'm waiting for a reboot. That's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I mean, it's got to happen. Like, listen, man, we're 40 fucking years old, right? So how long are you planning on sticking around on this mud ball for? Another 40 maybe?
I don't know about you, but I plan on living forever.
So at some goddamn point, this whole Michael Bay thing has to end, you know, and it has to start over again. And maybe the next reincarnation we won't like either, but at some point, maybe we will. But I just know I don't like what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But all that being said, it had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because of exactly what you were talking about the whole fandom, about the whole turning over like a new generation of fan. You know what I mean? Like things like, you know, it's almost it's like, man, you know, like when a band is around for long enough and they keep doing the same damn thing over and over again, you know, like let's say AC/DC's been writing the same fucking album for like how many years, how many decades, you know, and half the people are, well, this is what we know him as, and this is what we like to hear when we're listening to him. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And then the other half of the people are like, Jesus Christ, man, they're writing the same fucking song over and over again. But then, like Metallica, like Load and Reload and Saint Anger and all that crazy shit that came after that, after like, you know, leading up to the Black Album, it's half a dozen or half a dozen of one, six to another. Like half of the people are psyched because they're trying something new and they're trying to reinvent themselves, and they're trying. And the other half are like, well, what the fuck? This doesn't sound.
Yeah, this isn't my Metallica. Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It is what it is. But the fact that like it's still going on, and like at least the franchise as a whole. I'm not gonna say it was dead. It wasn't dead. It still had some kind of pulse. There were still fans out there, and there were still cartoon series going on here and there, and like comic books and stuff like that. But it really, like, the whole, man, that shit just shoved it right into the mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Everybody knows what the hell. You know.
Oh yeah, no, I will give the Bay films credit where it's due. You know, they really brought the franchise back into the mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't enjoyed this kind of mainstream, this kind of success since, I think, G1.
I think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because everything else that came out in between was, for lack of a better word, like a Band-Aid. Not a Band-Aid. I mean, that's a terrible word to use, but just like something that was just there to keep it going. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Beast Wars they took a chance. I think they they did right because they needed to change it up.
Yeah.
Needed some variety, like you were saying. But believe it or not, I read this somewhere a while back that Transformers never actually went anywhere. There have always been Transformers toys on the shelf since 1984.
Yeah, no, you're
Every year they've always had Transformers toys on the shelves.
Yeah, and you're right.
But you can't say that about G.I. Joe.
Right.
You certainly can't say that about Thundercats or He-Man. So they've endured, but
just not on a grand scale.
Yeah.
Which is kind of which is like, it's I think sometimes like it's cool because I think everything that's out there for all of us now is because it got so big. You know what I mean? There's still comic books and there's still like the masterpiece editions are coming out and all these fucking third parties, and like I think all that is I'm not going to say made possible by the movies bringing it back into the mainstream, but it's made the shit a lot more accessible to everybody. Like there's something out there for everyone. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
kept the line but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love it or hate it, and I hate it, but I still appreciate it for what it did.
It's done its thing. It's a part of the franchise, and it's a valuable part of the franchise, I think.
You just said a valuable part of it. It's
a valuable part of the franchise.
Freudian shit right there by Levy.
But yeah, and it's a great time to be a Transformers fan right now. There's, like you said, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
We have so much in terms of choice and options, especially like with the third party market. As collectors, we just if you want something, it's out there.
Yeah,
it's out there. If you're on a limited budget, you have your Hasbro stuff. If you want a combiner, but you're working on a limited budget, you got your Combiner Wars.
Right.
But if you have more disposable cash, and you want a more complex combiner, maybe better quality, better proportions, whatnot, you can go the third party route. You can go get your Fans Project, your Make Toys, your Mastermind Creations.
Or if you're on a limited budget and you feel like eating ramen noodles for like a week or two,
or just not eating at all. Maybe you can stand to lose a few pounds.
Yeah, I was actually just like, while you were saying that, I was blaming Tony cost me all that money because I had to go get all that Japanese shit, and then I was talking to Jason about this maybe, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. Like I call him up every once in a while and we're bullshitting, and we were talking about how I didn't personally know about all this third party shit, and like I knew about the Masterpiece stuff, and I was one of those cats like, if it's not official, I'm not getting it. Yeah. And then I realized like you get a third party thing, and then as soon as you put a faction symbol on it, all of a sudden it's official. So, but you're also partially to blame because I think I remember having a conversation about you, and I think the first thing that you might have told me about was like, because I was asking about some Devastator or some shit, and you brought up the Make Toys, the Giant, and then like the TFC Hercules or whatever, and like man, a slippery slope, dude. Like I went on and I googled both of those things and I saw them, and then I was kind of but of course like with Giant, all the other Make Toys products were kind of like coming up after the Giant pictures were filtering out, and as THC, that is some other Freudian shit right there. TFC, the Hercules pictures started filtering out, and you started seeing some of their other products, and then that led to like, all right, well, what other companies are out there? So like, man,
and then MMC came out with freaking Feral Rex.
Yeah,
that was it.
You motherfucker, man. Like, I could have a little bit more money in the bank if it wasn't for my boys Tony and Levy. But yeah, so
I remember like there was a span of about 3 months where like you had no third party shit, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got like 3 combiners. You got
I went a little
4
crazy.
Different stuff from 4 different companies.
Did you notice how I went from 195 pounds to like 175 pounds during that time? I don't know if you noticed how skinny I was getting. Fucking cats were eating better than me, but I had to complete my Seekers. No. But yeah, there is everything. Well, you know what? Okay, so that's a good segue since we're just working by the seat of our pants here. But real quick, since I don't know where we're at here, but we're pretty far along. What'd you get lately? Like stuff?
Oh, well, I did pick up Unite Warriors Computron a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you said that was better than you thought it was going to be? With the perfect effect stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I really enjoy this one. See, the thing is, like, I used to be all about getting the third-party combiners for my chug scale. You know, I got Hercules, I got the Fans Project Menosaur, I got Feral Rex, Warbitron. He can. I don't know. I think he's more my masterpiece scale Bruticus, but at least for the time being.
That's a whole other discussion. The whole fucking scale thing, man. Everybody go crazy over the scale thing, man.
But
Toy World fucked that up for everybody. That fucking devastator.
Did. But now I can't. Well, first off, I'm actually kind of getting out of the chug game.
Yeah. And getting more MPs?
Yeah, just getting more MP scale stuff. But I'm still picking stuff up here and there, and I really wanted to get a chug scale Computron. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I was eyeing up that Make Toys Quantron.
Yeah.
And it's been on sale at various outlets, you know, for like $2.99, $3.29, whatever. I never pulled the trigger on it.
Right.
And
because you wanted some meat. You wanted to eat meat that week.
Well, no, there was just other stuff that I wanted to buy. Yeah. And a Computron was, wasn't really on my list of priorities. But nowadays, I can't justify spending third-party dollars, third-party prices on chug scale products. Right. You know, if I'm going to spend money on third-party products, I'm gonna do it on masterpiece scale stuff. Yeah. You know, so
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I was like, the Quantron looks better than the Unite Warriors Computron, but you know what? The Unite Warriors Computron looks good enough to me for my chug collection. Because you know, like my chug collection used to be the focus of my collection. Because I mean, the MPs used to be slow in coming.
Yeah, a couple here, a couple there. Right.
So it was clearly the smaller part of my collection. You know, the chugs were cheaper, they were smaller, they were easier to come by. So they were more the focus of my collection earlier on. But now, you know, there's MP stuff, scale stuff everywhere. And
a lot of companies seem to be sliding more towards MP. Like even a lot of the companies that were, I don't want to say exclusively chug scale ship, but everybody seems to be kind of sliding.
Yeah, well, the whole
MP
market's
game.
shifting to that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can't. If I'm going to spend that money, I'd rather spend that on a masterpiece scale figure. The Unite Warriors, he looks good enough. He looks close enough to the original character. At least the Takara version does. Right. Yeah, because I look at that Combiner Wars Computron, and I look at that nose cone, and that thing's awful. Yeah, that thing's awful. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's the brawl mold in tank mode backwards, with this tiny little tank, or with this tiny little drill rather, this tiny little thing sticking out in the middle of it. And
isn't that cute?
Yeah, how is that going to drill a hole for that thing to get through? Because the whole point of like the nose cone drill tank was for him to drill a hole in the ground that he can get through. Right. You know, so he can travel underground. That's not going to drill a hole in anything.
It's just there for looks.
Yeah. Hey, look, this is nose cone. Yeah, all right. So I'm very happy with my Unite Warriors Computron purchase.
That was it. That was a.
Well, as far as Transformers go,
What else? What else you got?
Well, my brother-in-law went down to Baltimore Comic-Con. That was actually the weekend I got the Computron shipped to me, but so he picked me up Marvel Legends Ultimate Spider-Man, the Peter Parker version, and he got me Deadpool also from the X-Men wave, but. He left, apparently his other brother-in-law actually picked it up, and it was in his bag, and they had already left when they came home. So he said he's going to get it back to me then when he sees Ed again. Yeah.
So what else? Okay, so you got that, and what else? You got anything else recently?
Well, I got the Walgreens Punisher.
Yeah.
Marvel Legends. Yesterday I picked up the Walmart exclusive Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little disappointed in the Winter Soldier. It's an all right figure. The face looks reasonably like Sebastian Stan, but it comes with like almost no accessories. He comes with a pistol and a knife, and he can't hold the gun very well. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what it is with his fingers. Like, they don't hold onto the pistol very well.
He does not have the kung fu grip.
No, he does not have kung fu grip. He holds the knife beautifully.
Yeah.
And actually, the way his hands are shaped, like when he holds the knife, it actually looks like he's, ready for a knife fight. It looks, when he's holding the knife, it looks pretty cool. So I think the pistol I'm just going to give to my Punisher, because Punisher doesn't have a pistol.
Well, now that's just goddamn ridiculous.
Well,
man.
he comes with other guns though. He comes with like an M60.
Yeah, but see, Punisher should come with
not
like
an M60.
all the guns.
Yeah, well, he comes with a big light machine gun, a street sweeper shotgun or a grenade launcher or something like that. It looks like a sweet sweeper shotgun. Street sweeper shotgun.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Jesus
that
Christ,
shit
I can't
3
speak.
times. That's on 2 beers.
Yeah, and the RPG rocket launcher that came with Deadpool also, but he doesn't come with like a basic assault rifle or a pistol. And so the other thing about the Punisher figure, he doesn't have a trigger finger. His hands are like molded together as one.
Somebody dropped the ball on the Punisher.
Yeah, so I mean it's easy enough to fix. You just take an X-Acto knife and just cut the finger so that you can move that around, and so you separate the finger. Which I'm going to end up doing that, but I'm going to give that pistol to Punisher. So, but yeah. So Winter Soldier really doesn't come with a lot of accessories. I was kind of hoping he'd come with it with that weapon that he had in the Winter Soldier, where it had that disc grenade, that mine shot out and it was magnetic and got up underneath Nick Fury's truck. Have him come with that, like maybe have the mine be removable from the gun or something like that, or even just like a basic assault rifle or a submachine gun or something, but whatever. I mean, I can just have him doing the standard hero pose on my shelf. So, and I also picked up Marvel Legends Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that was the one you were just showing me outside, right?
Yeah.
With the put him on the Sons of Anarchy Jack's bike, which kind of looked pretty cool with the flames coming out of it.
Yeah. I find it funny that they come out with a Ghost Rider from Marvel Legends, but he doesn't come with a bike. I mean,
this is like, okay, so Punisher ain't got a pistol, Ghost Rider hasn't got a bike. It sounds like somebody in the creative department is smoking a little bit of weed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like Ghost Rider without a bike, he's like Ghost Walker.
He's Ghost Walker. Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I got that 1/12 scale bike for him and got the Tamashii Nation's flame effects just to set around the wheels to make it look like the wheels are on fire.
Right.
So just a simple thing to give it some kind of authenticity. So, and it's funny, like my 6-inch figure collecting, it started out as a niche thing.
Oh boy. This is
a couple months ago.
Happens.
Yeah, I know. And now all of a sudden I'm like, buying all sorts of stuff. I have that freaking SH Figuarts Hawkeye on pre-order.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, that thing's ungodly expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's more expensive than most of the other SH Figuarts stuff, because there's some sort of exclusivity about it, like where you can only I think they said something about like you can get through some mail order thing in Japan or something, I don't know, but its availability is supposed to be pretty limited. So I have it on pre-order. I'm gonna pay through the nose for it because I have to, because my SH Figuarts stuff, I'm collecting like the movie Avengers, and I have to have Hawkeye.
Right.
You can't have movie Avengers without Hawkeye. It's just the way it is. So, and I'm
y'all know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Y'all know what he's talking about.
So, and I'm supposed to be getting the Black Widow and Black Panther that are coming out soon. So, but yeah, this whole 6-inch figure collection was supposed to start as a niche thing, and it's just kind of gotten out of control.
You can't see him, but he's kind of talking like a drug addict at a meeting. Like he's doing
Action
it,
Figures
but
Anonymous.
His face is kind of twisted.
AFA.
Yeah. So that's been the haul. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. Actually, like Tamashii Nation Act 5 stands, they're pretty cheap on Amazon right now. So I've been getting those for my 6-inch figure collection. That's supposed to be a niche thing. You know?
You sound like Dante from Clerks. I wasn't even supposed to be here today. Just like he's going back to.
I wasn't even supposed to have these figures. So yeah, I think that's it. So how about you? You get any acquisitions lately?
Not like real recently. Like I get them in like small bursts. You know, like I don't get them often because like I said, I am kind of like a little like pigeonholed into a certain thing, and like you know we were talking about how I have a G1, like the G1 collection pretty much complete. My basic mission, I have an end game. I don't know if you have an end game. I got an end game. I'm just trying to get one character in like a masterpiece scale of every G1 character.
Yeah.
And that's like the toy ones and like some of the characters that appeared in the cartoon that never got, like the Quintessons would be pretty fucking cool. You know, RC, Nightbird, that DevCon character, you know, some of the Autobot Spike or Autobot X, whatever you want to call them. Like, I'm assuming that at some point somebody's going to come up with something. Like, I mean, they're even coming out with those droids from the Alpha, or not the Alpha Tron, the Search for Vector Sigma. That episode, those green droids with the dome heads, like, you know what I mean? Like, so they're basically kind of like little by little releasing every character in a masterpiece scale, and I'm trying to get one character of each, and that's all I'm fucking getting. And if a character comes out and he looks good, and then somebody else comes out with a better one, I don't keep two of them. I don't have the room. I don't have the money. I really try to just like kind of stay like really focused with what I'm getting.
Yeah. So
it's
basically
basically
the old one goes out the door, and
old one goes out the door while the new one's coming in. Most of the time, I try to stay up on the news, like when I hear about something on the horizon, getting rid of it a little early while you can still actually.
Well, it'll still bring in some value.
Yeah, I didn't realize Despotron was coming out so quick.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was coming out so quick, and I was kind of farting around trying to get rid of Apollyon.
Did you get any offers on your
No, I didn't. And you know what? And I'm going to be totally honest with you. Apollyon is not a shitty figure. I'm not a hater of Apollyon, but like that Make Toys Despotron just looks like such a tank, man. You know, like, so he had to go. Yeah. And maybe we could like go over at a later date, go over the Megatron Wars, because you got the Mitron and Apollyon and Despotron, and now
possibly rumored the official MP Megatron.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was gonna get what is it, Mitron?
That's DX9.
Oh,
you're talking about Make Toys
Despotron. Yeah. I was gonna get the Despotron,
but then you saw that floated.
But then I saw those pictures come out, and I'm like. Oh man,
we'll get into
that looks so good.
Yeah, we'll get into that one. Because that one's going to take a while because we could break it down. I know other people probably have already, but you know it's fun to talk about. But so I don't know. So so that they're out, and I got rid of my Salus, or was it Salus? The
Salus, which one's that?
Voodoo Robots Ratchet.
Oh, you got rid of him?
I got rid of him, and I picked up a Masterpiece, Masterpiece Ratchet. I was trying to get like different molds for the characters that were essentially palette swaps, because I wanted them to all kind of look different. But like, I don't know, man, I wasn't feeling that one. He was kind of like I'll tell you what, I didn't like the Masterpiece Vanbots when I saw like pictures of them, but in hand, I think they're actually really cool. So I ended up trading those out, so I got the DX9 Blitzwing, G-Walt, whatever the hell they were calling them. I don't know how to pronounce half of them, but basically DX9, that thing is a tank, man. And I know
literally,
literally, right. It's a really cool figure, man. Like, and I know Fans Toys got one on the horizon, and most of the time, like, I would hold out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's other characters that are out already, and I know Fans Toys is coming out with something, and Fans Toys is kind of my go-to 3P company. Like, I'm a fanboy, dude. I don't give a fuck. Them and like Make Toys and MMC is real cool. But anyway, but I decided to jump the gun and just get that, you know. And if Fans Toys comes out with one and it's cool, I'll replace it. But then he would be gone, you know.
Yeah.
I got that thing.
Oh, the X-Transbots.
Boost and Hatch, the Wind Charger and Tailgate. Honestly, they look awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they look like hell. You look at them, they look like the characters. They're cool. They're very cool looking. But I'm putting that Photoshop together, and I'm trying to represent all the characters. He came in car mode. I transformed him into robot mode. I was fucking sweating. Like, by the time I was done with it, it was like stressful, man.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be stressful. Like, it's supposed to be kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like, and there's other companies that put stuff out where you could change them back and forth and shit like that, and it's not like a stressful thing. And I wanted to put him in that thing in car mode, but I already had him in robot mode, and I could not get up the energy to like even want to bother.
You should just put tailgate in there and just Photoshop him red.
Now he's already in robot mode too. I did the both of them, man, at the same time. So yeah, man. You know what?
I was hoping to save you some headache.
I hate them both
because it's easier to Photoshop the color different than it is to actually transform the fucker.
Dude, it would have been easier. It would have been easier. So I hate both of those figures. They look really nice, but they're like.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, how often are you going to be transforming it?
Only for like if I'm trying to do a project like with doing a Photoshop or whatever. Like I display everything in robot mode, but it's just.
And that's the thing too. I mean, we don't really just go and take stuff off the shelf and fuck with it. I mean. we do.
I'm not gonna say I have wars in my living room and like make sound effects and shit while I'm watching a game or whatever. But like every once in a while, I'll pull one down. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, the stuff sits on our shelf and collects dust.
Let's just put it this way: if they would release an official one, or if another company that was way better at it did those same characters, they would be out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's those two. What the hell else did I got? I got the Fans Toys. Willie Willis, whatever they're calling him.
Oh yeah,
days.
I got him too.
The Hound.
I did get him and the Wind Charger.
The Wind Charger. The Willis was really cool, man. And you know what? I didn't even bother looking at the instructions. It just the whole transformation kind of made sense. The Hound, the Fans Toys Hound. It kind of made sense where I could just like change it back and forth without having, because some of them are complex, man.
From what I've seen, because it's weird. I've gotten into the habit of not even transforming my shit. If it comes in robot mode, it goes on the shelf.
You just leave it there. Yeah,
it just goes on the shelf.
See, you have
to. And that trend started with Apollyon.
Well, all right, listen, I wouldn't have touched that thing either.
Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. That trend started with Fans Toy Shrapnel.
No, yeah, it was Apollyon.
2 out of the 3 of my Insecticons, I've never transformed.
Yeah. Wait, the Fans Toys one?
Yeah. 2 out of 3 of them, I've never transformed.
The Apollyon one, there's no need to even turn him into a gun, really. Mm-hmm. Unless you were just kind of like doing it, but there was so many moving parts, it's so complex and so rickety and shit like that. Like it looked really cool. Like I thought he looked cool, but here's why you have to change him. Is I got a Warbotron Onslaught. This is years ago when I was still getting my shit from TF Source. Mm-hmm. I went to transform it, and he was in. I believe he came in truck mode.
Yeah.
Or robot? Did he come in robot mode? Truck. Anyway,
he came in truck mode.
In truck mode. Yeah. So I was going to transform him anyway, but I'm just saying if he would have came in robot mode, I would have ran into the same thing. You have to transform it one way or another because there was something where he was fine in robot mode or in truck mode, but when you would try to transform him, there was some sort of internal part where there was a left one and a right one that were like mirrored pieces of each other.
Yeah.
So one had to be pointing one way, one had to be pointing the other way. Well, they had 2 rights, but they just had the right one on the left facing the wrong way. And it had to go at some sort of angle, and his one shoulder could only get, so it totally fucking didn't work. So if you don't actually like try to put this shit together,
well, I ran into that same problem with my Fans Toys Perceptor, the Fans Toys Tesla.
Yeah,
the left and right hands are actually different pieces. The swivel parts where that put the hand that allows you to the hinge.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. The hinge joint that swivels the hand into the forearm for transformation. They're actually 2 different pieces.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just take one, turn it around, and put it on the other side.
Right.
So, I got one because I picked him up at TFCon last year in Charlotte.
Right.
From Capture Prey. And so when I got home and tried to transform it, I noticed like I couldn't get the hand in. And I was actually like taking the hand, the arms apart to change the parts because they came with 2 different colored parts that you could change, and that's when I noticed that the hand didn't work right, and so I called up Side Cutter, and what's his name, Orson, and is that his name?
I don't know. I mean, I know Capture Prey.
Side Cutter from Capture Prey.
Yeah,
and I told him, I was like, look, I got this issue with the wrist, and I explained everything to him, sent him pictures and stuff, and he took care of me. He got me the replacement parts. It took a little bit of time, but get replacement parts usually does. And the same thing happened with my Brawny because I needed to get, because I bought that loose, from Brandon at Chosen Prime that weekend, and it was missing the
like a gas can or some
the
shit.
fuel tank.
Yeah.
And because in vehicle mode that stores his weapon, and so I really needed that fuel tank. So Brandon, again, he took care of me. He got the replacement parts. It took a little while, but he got me the parts. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, that happens, man. I always like, even if it comes out in robot mode, I gotta switch them back and forth one time just to make sure, like, because you know how it is. You go and try that shit like a year from now, and your shit SOL, So
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know, man. I got the DX9 Blitzwing. I got the Wind Charger and Tailgate X Transbots. What the hell else did I got the Wild Rider. From
Transformation.
From that, yeah. And you know what, like, he's, again, that's like a perfect example, like what you were talking about, where it didn't have to be totally like screen accurate G1. That's more of like an IDW style character design.
Well, actually, from what I understand, those Transformation guys are completely inspired by the early IDW Menace.
Yeah, I mean, it's right on the money, man. You
Yeah.
could find the pages.
That
where,
Motor Master,
yeah.
from what I've seen,
That's
the
pretty
test
cool,
shots,
man.
looks amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, he's gonna be cool. So I don't know. I got him, and what the hell else? It was the Ocular Max Inferno.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how everybody else is doing it. I know a lot of people are like strict like official shit, but like, again, there was a situation where I was trying to separate all the different molds and stuff, so I ended up getting the Make Toys Grapple. We both did, back when they were only offering it at the website, and then Ocular Max released their Inferno, so I ended up getting an Ocular Max one because I knew that Grapple was going to be coming out. And I know this is totally cheesy, but there was a hauler in G1, so like my Make Toys is going to be the hauler, and then the official Grapple Ocular Max. And I kind of I swore off X Transbots, but there's an Artfire. You know who Artfire is? There's like a Artfire that's kind of a target master. So to get like all four of them to be totally different, I might end up getting him as the Artfire. That way, all like the fire truck, crane, mold guys are like totally.
Yeah.
So I ended up, instead of getting, I got a boxed Inferno, like the Masterpiece Inferno. But as far as my display piece goes, it's the Ocular Max Inferno, and he's a cool figure, man. And they're totally built different. Like the Make Toys Grapple is kind of like shorter and squatter, like a little bit more like a meathead, and like the Inferno is like a little bit more like taller and athletic looking. So it's kind of cool, like the way the two of them look together.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much it. Outside of that, and a couple comic books, man. You're not gonna hear much out of me on a weekly basis as far as stuff I get, because I can't get all that shit. But like, I just don't have the room for it. I kind of just stick to the MP stuff. So as that stuff comes out. But I don't know, man. We could probably wrap it up right there.
Yeah, I think so.
We covered a lot of shit, and we got some shit to talk about next time. But any you wanna shout out to anybody?
Well, just want to shout out to the hardcore collectors, the THC crew. They're pretty much the primary group on Facebook that I pay any kind of attention to anymore. So just want to give a shout out to those guys, to Jay Luzon.
Jay hit me up, and he said he wanted to come on at some time.
Oh,
and
nice.
I told him I already talked to you about having him on sometime, so we'll have to get him on talking some shit a little bit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so shout out to John, our boy John Hangen. So, another local collector. He's in THC with us.
There's a couple of them around here, man. Him and Louis.
Yep.
Mike Childs.
Yep.
A couple of our boys.
My buddy Cody from work, he's in there. He doesn't post a lot, but he's been real busy with moving and stuff. So,
Got to give a shout out to the TCP guys, man.
Absolutely, yes, Brandon and all them. They're definitely good people.
Yeah, looking forward to hang out with Jay and Mo.
Yes,
if you actually have listened this far, I don't know what's wrong with you for listening to it this far, but it'll be cool to see those cats again, and Brandon and a couple of those other guys and stuff. They were all cool, man. We had to get, so we'll have to talk about that sometime too. The mini vacation, where my mom thought I was gonna get eaten by a shark if I went surfing with Jay. Yeah. That was a good time. But man, looking forward to seeing all those cats. That'd be pretty good.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it, man. I don't know how you end an episode. I've heard other episodes end, but I don't really know.
I don't know. Well,
I feel like we got to have somebody else come. Like we need like the, you know, like one of those announcer guys like on The Price is Right. Somebody got to come in and take it out, but we have nobody else here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we'll just say that we'll wrap it up here, and we'll see y'all next time.
Word.
Hopefully.